Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. The Red Fort in New Delhi was the site of a deadly blast this week. The Indian government called it a terror incident. No group claimed responsibility, but police identified a key suspect, a doctor who was driving the car that exploded on Monday close to the iconic tourist attraction, killing 13 people. FSN's Neha Punia sent this report from New Delhi.
A day after police teams reportedly identified the prime suspect in the Delhi explosion case, we've now seen search operations take place at the university where he worked. He was a junior professor at a university in the neighbouring state of Haryana. The same university saw some doctors being arrested and detained just hours prior to the blast, and bomb-making material was found on them. Police teams have not said whether the two are directly linked or not. We've also seen police teams identify shops where explosive materials were bought for this explosion. These shops are located in the region of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. FSN's Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza, of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
After this morning's police raid on Cosmopolitan magazine's male pleasure laboratory revealed that test subjects were forced to endure horrific abuses and inhumane living conditions, Onion reporters spoke to 23-year-old Daniel Chertok, one of the numerous men exploited for the monthly magazine's studies on erotic stimulation.
It was awful. They drove us wild for days on end. Once they made me lather myself with gallons of sexy bath oils, and then read thousands of racy text messages until my eyesight began to blur. Then for the next 12 hours, they blasted sultry songs into my ears and made me simulate 50 crazy hot sex moves. They said I couldn't rest until they found the bliss button on my Randy regions.
According to Chertok, test subjects were often subjected to hours of grueling experimentation at the hands of female scientists. Chertok added that many of his fellow subjects were not lucky enough to survive the excruciating treatment.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
Talk it or free it live.
Free it live at Free Talk Live tonight.
Bonnie, you're censoring yourself tonight.
Yeah,
why would you do that?
It's usually you that I'm accidentally censoring.
I know, but now you're censoring yourself on Free Talk Live.
Well, tonight on the show on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Riley O'Bill.
Riley O'Bill. I just think that's so funny.
I think so, too. I think I'll keep it around.
It's so funny because a lot of people who have listened for a long time will remember the time that Mark got mad at Ian during a heated conversation about activism on the show, and Mark stormed off and called Ian a BAMF.
I remember that. I remember the clip. I don't remember the show itself, but I remember the clip.
Yeah, I didn't listen to the show itself or anything. I've seen the clip. It's like our third most views on a video, I think, on the YouTube channel for Free Talk Live.
Wow, that's a lot of views.
And Ian actually like clipped it and put it up because it was funny in hindsight, even though they were mad in the moment. Yeah. And he said he's a very angry man.
Yeah, sometimes we're gonna have moments like that on Free Talk Live where we're really impassioned because we're doing a show where we're debating and arguing, and all of a sudden, someone's gonna storm out of the studio.
Well, anyways, Riley and I shouldn't do that tonight because there's not a third host. Well, unless we just have Coconut on with me tonight. Oh, I should have put the camera on Coconut, but I'll do it later.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of different things to talk about. One thing that I really don't know if I have much to say about, to be honest, but it deserves mention, I guess, is that in order to end the government shutdown, so the government shutdown did end, the government is back open, or whatever.
Was the government ever closed? That's the real question.
It never really closes. They just don't pay the military, and as soon as they come back open, they pay them back pay.
Yeah, and that's essentially what happens.
Jobs too.
Yeah, that's essentially what happens, and people are told to be afraid of the government shutdown through propaganda, and it's really just a made-up story. There is no government shutdown. There is no government problem happening. It's just people are being unpaid.
And really, it shouldn't be scary to you unless you're a government worker, but that's why they have so many government jobs out there, so there's so many different ways to be dependent on the government.
Yeah, and it's just a way to make people afraid and make people more of a slave to the system, to the government, to this whole ideology that the collective has rights, when individuals have rights, not the collective.
Because who was afraid or upset or affected by the government shutdown? Government workers, and then people who were dependent on the government in the form of welfare, like SNAP. I'm not sure if that was the only welfare that was not going out during the government shutdown, but I know that SNAP or the food stamps. I'm not sure what else to call it, what the acronym stands for SNAP off the top of my head, but
I can't remember either. But I've heard it a few times.
Yeah, I know the N is like nutrition, supplemental nutrition, something financing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I did want to mention that the government shutdown ended, and then, because the government shutdown ended,
it could be a supplemental nutrition. What would be A? I'm trying to remember because I had it
for affordable.
Maybe affordable. Yeah, something.
It looks like it's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Oh, okay, that's what I was trying to think of.
Wait, why did I say finance? I was thinking SNAP. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. Why would you think of SNAP?
I don't know. It was a snafu. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
So, not because of the government shutdown, but in response to the Republicans not giving the Democrats what the Democrats wanted, and vice versa, I don't really know exactly how it happened. Because the reason that it was shut down is the government or the Republicans, Democrats couldn't agree on certain things. Well, in response to them not coming to agreements, they released some emails that they've had for a long time but didn't release to the public yet about stuff from the Epstein estate. Did you hear anything about this?
I've heard about it. I don't know much about it. I haven't read the emails or anything, but I've heard about it, and Trump is is demanding that Democrats be investigated, and the Democrats are blaming that Trump be investigated, so I don't know what the truth is here.
Yeah, the Democrats were actually straight up saying, I think, that Trump was on the Epstein list, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that hasn't come out or anything, and it's not like a list of people who did bad things or anything like that. There's just it's kind of like emails, like when we had to crawl through the Pizzagate emails with, who was it? It was the Obama administration. I can't remember all those people's names.
I can't either, but I think John Podesta was one of them.
Yeah, thank you. That's one. There was a woman whose name was so not abnormal, but uncommon. It was like Hema something. Do you know what I'm talking
about?
No. But either way, there was tons of people emailing back and forth, including emailing Hillary Clinton, I think, and maybe even Obama's emails as well. that got leaked during the Pizzagate stuff on WikiLeaks. Yeah. And that was always like, nothing was, oh, this is so obvious what they're talking about that someone like got put in jail. You know what I mean? It's always like coded language and like stuff where that the two parties already know what they're talking about, so they don't need to spell it out. And that is what I've seen from the little bit I've seen of the Epstein files that came out last week, or this week, I mean. Honestly, it doesn't look like anything that important. Here's a little part of an article here from couriernewsroom.com. They said, we created a searchable database with all 20,000 files from Epstein's estate. And it's probably like, they used AI to crawl through it or something. I don't know, maybe not. It says, the U.S. House Oversight Committee on Wednesday announced a massive document dump from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, including thousands of emails. So I guess it's not just emails, but including thousands of emails discussing a wide range of topics, including women, blackmail, and spending the holidays with Donald Trump. The 20,000 documents come in the form of poorly organized folders with unhelpful labels, screenshots of emails, and heavily redacted spreadsheets. Some of the files are devoid of context, such as a video in the natives folder of a dog playing with plushies of Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Huh.
That's freaking weird.
That is kind of weird.
I hadn't heard of that at all, had you?
No, I haven't. And people do weird things in their lives.
While others are broken up in confusing ways, like email chains split into several PDFs. Okay. To make this massive data dump more accessible, Courier, which is this news, I don't know, this article is a Courier article. So, to make this massive data dump more accessible, Courier has compiled the 20,000 documents from Epstein's estate into an easily printable repository via Google Pinpoint. Use the search tool here. And I'm not going to be doing that on the show, but if anybody wants to go to that, it's at couriernewsroom.com. What's been released is only a small fraction of what the U.S. Department of Justice has collected as part of its investigation into Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Oh, I just realized something. So put a pin in that article.
Okay.
I didn't give the call-in number. If you'd like to call into Free Talk Live and get on the conversation with us and talk about whatever you want, bring up a new subject, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. That number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And it looks like somebody is literally calling in now. Like, I'm sure that's not the result of me just now giving out the phone number, but let's see who's calling in. It looks like Creighton from Kentucky. Creighton, you're on Free Talk Live. What is on your mind?
Hi, I called in partly because I wanted to mention that I used to follow this whole Epstein thing pretty deeply, but I kind of gave up on the idea because we live in a world where the ability to falsify documents is with AI is so perfect.
Yep.
That we can never trust any of this again anymore. I mean,
wow, yeah.
AI has definitely changed the world for, I don't know if the better or the worse, but it definitely has changed the world. And so learning what to trust is going to be the most important thing we can do.
Yeah, we can't even trust video anymore. It used to say, the thing used to be, don't tell me, show me a video it didn't happen.
Even like people, like women, if you're accusing a woman of using a filter and like that's not what you really look like, they try to post a video being like, see, this is what I really look like, and then you're like, oh wow, like she couldn't have really edited that very well until AI came out, and now you can completely just make a fake image or video that from an image, and you know what I mean. Like you're completely right. They have evolved so well, like video has become so believable from AI now that documents are nothing. That's just easy.
But I wanted to shift the topic because I wanted to call in anyway.
Yeah.
About Donald Trump, and he admitted he didn't. Admitted is not the right word. He's calling for changes in the mortgage regulations to permit 50-year mortgages and portable mortgages. And I thought this was really bizarre at first, and I was thinking about it, and then I realized, well, that's kind of a move towards freedom, because before, a mortgage company wasn't allowed to do either one of those things in the United States, and those things are real in other countries. But of course, Donald Trump is not doing it because he believes in the freedom of it. He's doing it to support the value of the dollar in a crisis time, when the risk of a monetary crisis is very high. Your opinion? Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I first want to ask you, because I've never bought a house or anything, is 50-year mortgage like much longer than what they've been allowed to do before?
Yes, the longest they were allowed to do before was 30 years.
Okay. And also, what is a portable mortgage?
Portable mortgage, which is something that's actually a thing in other countries, is where you get into a mortgage agreement with a mortgage company, and you like the details, like your interest rate and all that, but you want to move.
Whoa.
There's a clause in the mortgage that allows you to swap the houses for the mortgage.
Yeah, I've never heard of such a thing. I've never even thought such a thing.
I haven't either, and that actually, to me, sounds like a good idea.
It is a good idea because, again, it's more freedom. And one reason it's a good idea is because a lot of the regulation and taxes that slow down the sale and movement of houses, people buying houses, especially first-time home buyers, is the cost of the taxes and the rate and the actual regulation of doing so. There is so much cost and overhead in actually selling and mortgaging a house. It is ridiculous. It's quite a headwind when you do it every few years. Like, the idea being is, hey, we're going to invest in a tiny starter home, and then we have a bigger family, we'll move again. That's going to be in like 7 years. On average, it's about 7 years. So mortgages don't last 30 years, and they don't last 50. The whole point of it is to stretch out the payment so that in the beginning, when your income is low, because you're just starting out in life, you're able to make the payments. And by the time that you have more money and can make payments on...
Uh-oh, did we lose you?
It sounds like it.
Uh-oh, Creighton, if you can hear us, we stopped being able to hear you, but that's a really interesting... Oh, he dropped off, so looks like he's hung
Probably
up.
bad cell.
If you have more to say, you could call back, Creighton, and I'd pick you up, but 603-283-6160 is the phone number to bring up whatever's on your mind. And
yeah, those portable mortgages sounded really interesting to me too. And I wonder how that's going to change the economy. Is it going to make it easier for people to get houses? My concern about a 50-year mortgage is that we're human. We get lazy from time to time. We forget, we got this long time to pay off this mortgage, so we'll just take our time with it. And, eventually forget about it or whatever, maybe not. Or maybe it becomes, a debt that more than one generation has to carry, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. The other thing that is a little confusing to me is, and I never considered before, is like, if you're paying off a mortgage to a house, you're like going to buy it and you're not just renting. And then you're like, oh, it's been 7 years and I have 2 more kids and I'm going to move. Like, you obviously aren't forced to finish paying that off.
Yeah.
So what is the difference, like, to the economy and to the bank and everything, if instead of doing that, hey, I'm going to break off this mortgage and quit doing this and move on to another house, instead of doing that, just like moving it to a new house? Is it just that, there's less stupid bureaucratic paperwork to be filled out because it's just like, okay, we just took the paperwork and switched the name of the street, the address and description of the property, instead of like having to do a whole bunch more paperwork that, like the caller said, slows down the process of it, makes it more expensive. It sounds like it might be a good thing. I'm just barely hearing about this. So
yeah, Well, the payments still will definitely be lower, and it might help a lot of, people who can't afford a house now get into them. My concern is it's going to be like a multi-generational debt that will have to be carried because, 30 years, you could have that debt paid off essentially by the time you start having grandkids if you were married pretty young. But now we have people who are going to be stuck carrying a debt for 50 years nearly, and that's...
Yeah, but I was talking more about the portable ones. It's like,
okay, yeah.
If you, instead of just cutting off the mortgage you're paying off right now, you just portable, transfer it to another property. That just only sounds like a good thing to me, but I could be wrong. And the other thing is things being more affordable for people, it can be a good thing, but it's also what caused the 2008 crash when people who couldn't really afford something were just able to get loans for, the house.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if it's exactly the same type of thing when it's like just, we're paying smaller monthly bills because it's 50 years. I'm not sure if that'd be exactly the same thing as what they were doing in 2008, because in 2008 was like really low interest rates that caused it. Well, it looks like Creighton called back, so I'm going to answer him. It's not breaking the rules to if your phone broke off and we're still enjoying talking to you. So Creighton, we hear you.
Yeah, my phone dropped the call so quietly. I talked for another 6 minutes before I realized it dropped.
Man. Sucks. Yeah.
So I don't even know where it is it dropped. I don't even know how far I got.
Oh, man, I wish I knew exactly what you were saying.
Can't help you there, man. So you'll have to figure out where we're at.
Started talking right after, like, looks like we lost you. And we just started talking, and it's like, oh, man, I'm trying to remember, but it's really hard because we just had to keep talking. But one thing we were, like, pondering, and maybe you have a good answer for it, is I was saying if you're paying off a house right now, you have a mortgage and you decide, I had 2 more kids and I'm gonna transfer it to this other property instead of finishing paying this one, typically what you would do without a portable mortgage is like end that mortgage and then start a new one. So like, is this going to be better for the economy because of kind of like what you said, like it won't cost as much money and bureaucratic like crap to go through? It sounds like it could be more streamlined. You know what I mean? Is this ultimately going to be good for the economy and good thing?
Yes and no. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better for the economy. What it means is that it's a smoother option. The idea of friction against transactions slow the transactions down, and regulation is friction.
Mm-hmm.
And because a portable mortgage, if a mortgage is portable, because not no mortgages exist now that are portable. But in the future, if you have a portable mortgage, you have the option of sliding that mortgage over to another property as long as it qualifies, because it still has to qualify for your own mortgage, and keep your rate if it's a good rate, these kinds of things. So it reduces the friction, for lack of a better word of what that means, in the act of selling and buying a house, at least on the mortgage level.
But something that's a little confusing to me is like, what if you're like, I only have 1 year left on this house, but I'm just going to pay for 1 year on this, brand new house I just moved into. Seems kind of, I don't know why it seems wrong. Who's getting the money in this? You know what I mean?
Well,
the bank.
The point of it is now we get into these agreements like 30-year mortgage or whatever, with the idea being that it's easier when you make less income at the beginning of your career, and you work your way into it and you pay more on it. The way it happens now is that you on average that mortgage lasts for 7 years, and that's actually where we get the whole concept of the 7-year balloon mortgage. It's like if you're only going to be living there for 7 years, you don't even need the 30-year mortgage. It's not even important. But if you have the 30-year fixed rate, part of the attraction of it is that it's predictable. You don't have the variable rate, and you don't have to worry about changes in the market that would affect your rate. And if you have a good rate, or a rate that you find acceptable on your 30-year mortgage, you're kind of locked into your house, especially today. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, I have a mortgage that I refinanced just a few years ago, and I have 2.25% on the house. There is no way that I'm going to sell my house and move and then end up with a 6% rate, because that's what the rate is now.
Mm-hmm.
So that effect slows down and prevents people that would otherwise want to move up into a bigger house, a different house, or even downsize if they're near retirement and downsize into a more lower maintenance, smaller home. And it would allow these McMansions, for example, that people want to buy when they're younger, when they have kids. There'll be more of them on the market. They're more easier to get a hold of, and reduce the friction, the concept of friction against that the transaction, slows the transactions down. And if you can keep your mortgage rate that you had and you like it, you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that does make a lot of sense, but it kind of feels like it's like, well, if you're paying this smaller interest rate and in a brand new house where somebody else would have paid 6%, the bank's just going to be like, no, these other people are going to pay 6% and they'll just take them. Does that make sense?
Well, it does and it doesn't, because the bank doesn't really have the choice.
Oh.
They're not choosing the house.
Okay.
The person who's buying the house.
Oh, yeah, it's the people who sell it that to choose, you're right. Well, thanks for the call, Creighton. It's a lot to think about. Maybe Trump is doing this for kind of nefarious reasons, like just to make himself look good, like bump up the economy or get people in houses, make them happy, and say, like, look what Trump
Or maybe
gave
it's a really good idea. I guess we'll find out at some point in the future.
603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. FSN's Iris Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. FSN's Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair, Samir Shah, has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And I'd like to thank Timothy for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Timothy went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Timothy and everyone who supports us. And again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. Thank you so much to Timothy, and we all do really appreciate our amplifiers here at Free Talk Live. With you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Riley O'Bill.
And we were talking at the beginning of the last segment, about the Epstein things that were released. And a caller called in to change the subject, and he also pointed out that he used to be really into the Epstein files stuff, but then he realized it could be faked so easily, especially documents. Like videos are fakeable right now, but also a bit clockable. But sorry, I mean, like, by that I mean, like, able to be you can realize that they're fake. But documents, I don't even know if documents mean anything anymore. Like, if I wanted to make a fake vaccine card now, easy. The only thing is, like, oh, if you have some kind of a database where it's like, no, this card number belongs to a different name. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, or if it has like a chip in it to determine if it's an actual valid card or not.
But if I want, like, okay, for example, I'm not trying to say this is a good idea or that I would do this or anything, but when I changed my last name to Freeman, I just had to, like, go to the court and get this paperwork. Actually, I asked them for the paperwork, and they just told me to go online. So go online, fill out this paperwork, and then they sent me in the mail a document that has, like, an embossed thing on it. Maybe that is, like, I mean, that's not that hard to get faked, too. But anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And it just said, like, the court is allowing Bonnie Cruz to change her name to Bonnie Freeman. And it's like, that would be the easiest thing to fake now. If, like, the thing is, like, actually, I wouldn't even need a fake embossed, like, a real embosser that I get made or anything. Because every time I've needed to use that to show that my last name changed, I just sent a freaking picture I took of that document with my phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to mail in the document to someone.
So definitely AI could fake that too. And we're living in a world where we're going to have to figure out what it is to be human and what's real.
And documents never were what it meant to be human, so.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing about the whole, like, back in 2022, maybe it was, when Facebook, Zuckerberg started talking about, like, oh, it's going to be the metaverse, and you guys are just going to sit in pods all day and play meta games. It's so stupid. It didn't even sound believable, but people were talking about it so much every day that it was getting to me a bit. One thing I always thought is, like, one thing about this crap is that it may just push people off the internet. Like, if this is what the internet's going to become, like this crap, like this junk, like slop, it may just push people into real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other thing is that, I was talking to one of our friends here in Keene, and he made the comment that, when he started using the internet when he was a kid, he wanted it to escape the world. Nowadays, the world is on the internet, and you can't escape the world because it's on the internet and off the internet. So, you got to learn how to go out in nature more and find stillness.
Yeah, that is such a good point. Like, I got this new tablet that's here in the studio with me, and I'm using it to design things, and I'll talk more about that another time. Might start putting out the things I'm designing with it, but one thing about this tablet that's really unfortunate that I don't like is that it doesn't have a little app on it, like an ingrained app that says photos, and oh, that's where all my photos go. Instead, it uses all Google things, and my photos is just Google Photos. And I thought that was so annoying and so weird. Like, I can't just save things on the device in a certain way, like maybe like through files. I don't know. I haven't looked that deep into it. I just got it, but anyways, I have to use Google Photos. And so like I click on Google Photos, and it has all these pictures from this phone I had in 2017 and 18.
Wow.
It has like every picture from my phone I had in 2017 and 18. I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
It must have been that like I agreed, like something popped up and I agreed, okay, back up on Google, but I don't remember, I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah, we do that all the time, for sure.
Yep. And so I was like getting a little like sad in a way. It was like bittersweet in a way, because I was like I had so many screenshots of like people's posts from Facebook and stuff like that. I was like, this is a time when I worked at a hotel, lived in the tiniest town, like probably most people have ever lived in, 150 people, in the middle of nowhere in Utah. And like I was on the internet all the time in such a time wasting kind of way. And that was 2017, right? And at the beginning of 2018, I decided to start learning what meditation was. Like, I'd always heard of it and stuff, but I never looked into trying it myself. And I got like addicted. Like 2018, you see my screenshots in 2017, like being like, I obviously screenshot this to send a picture to my sister and like gossip about people we know. And then other things like a screenshot of like, I don't know, like something I thought I wanted, tons of pictures like Kim Kardashian. Mm-hmm. And then in 2018, it's getting a lot lighter. Like, it's getting better. And like, then in 2018, that's when I decided, like, pulled the trigger to take the jump to move from my tiny town back to Texas with like an actual city and like more prospects for my life. And I would live a so much worse life if I just stayed in the middle of nowhere, Dugway, Utah. But anyways, that time where I like started meditating, I got like literally like addicted to it. And I don't even really mean in a bad way. It really wasn't a bad thing. I was like meditating every free time I had. And it was just like my whole life was getting better because my mind was getting clearer, and I wasn't as interested in stuff like in 2016 was when I first heard about the ideas of liberty. 2017, I would say I became a libertarian. I might have been 16, but so I wasn't arguing with as many libertarians on the internet in 2018, and like my whole life was just so much better. Like, I didn't really care as much about the internet. I feel like that's all the story there is to that story. And yeah, that stepping away from the internet time period I had, because obviously I've like gone back and forth. Like, my husband went to jail, and I'd say I get on Twitter a lot more now. Things are not as bad as like me being on Facebook in 2017. Like, come on, that's horrible. Like, seriously, I don't even understand how people have Facebooks anymore. Anyways, that stepping away time definitely was like, it changed my whole life. It was so good for me.
I can imagine it did, because, when you step away from social media and you're not dealing with the negativity of it or the comparisons or seeing people live their quote-unquote best lives when in reality they're depressed as hell. Mm-hmm. And when you step away from that and find something different, I'm sure it definitely does change your life.
Yeah, one thing I completely had forgotten about was like I thought this one woman with like this strawberry blonde hair was so beautiful. They had all these like screenshots of her. She was just like a makeup artist on Instagram. Had all these screenshots of her, and then I had multiple different pictures of myself where I used an app to put strawberry blonde hair on me to see if it would look good on me, and I really was like thinking that I should go like do that. And it's just like, I can't even imagine putting myself in that mindset now. Like, I feel like I still dye my hair, by the way, but I dye it like just a darker version of my own hair because I have gray hairs and stuff. Like, I don't know. Back then it was just like, I need to completely change something about myself. I don't know what. Something's going to fix me. Like, maybe it's having strawberry blonde hair like this beautiful one. Now I don't even like compare myself to other people like that. I mean, I don't sit around being like, oh, I wish I could be more beautiful. Like, I literally did lose weight for one thing. Like, I was 125 pounds, but I'm like almost 5'2". I'm literally like a little less than a quarter of an inch away from 5'2". So 125 is like big. And plus I'm like a small person. Like, I know people try to say like big boned isn't a thing, but it really is. There are bigger boned people and smaller boned people. Like, I'm smaller in general and short. So 125 pounds is like, I saw a few pictures of myself on there I hadn't seen in a long time. I was like, wow, like I had like no jawline and looked way worse. So I always like felt ugly and just compared myself to others, and I loved like Kim Kardashian. I just wanted like her, not like her beauty. I didn't want to look exactly like her. It's not really possible with her because she has such different features to me, but I wanted like her confidence and the way she like gets things done in her life, and she's like so not lazy. Like, there are lots of positives about her. It's not all just sex tape, but whatever. It's also, it feels kind of negative to be like follower of hers, because I think that she kind of feeds off of like people wanting to be her instead of like giving anything positive back to her followers. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty of beautiful people that give more to their followers. Like, you get more out of like following them or, you know, listening to their podcast or whatever than Kim Kardashian. I hate to say it. So the fact I was like obsessed with her 2017 is like, I'm a totally different person. It's crazy. But also that was
Are you more confident than you were 8 years ago?
I'm like a million times more confident than I was 8 years ago. And it does have to do with losing weight. So like literally making a physical change. But it also has to do with getting out of that tiny town where it's like, I had a house and I forgot this until I saw these screenshots. I was going through and deleting as much stuff as possible off the Google Photos, but I paid $480 a month for, wait, was it a month? Yeah, I think it was a month for my rent and utilities. That's so cheap, but
I know
it's like that was easy, and that was what I could just continue to do forever if I wanted to, you know, like maybe just settle down with my like horrible on again, off again boyfriend who like definitely has like begged me to come back to him, like not recently, he's married now, but right when I moved away and stuff. Like I could have lived an easier but so much less fulfilling life, but instead I like took the jumps, changing my life and stuff like that. Getting into things I actually enjoyed doing and learning, and so like there's tons of things other than just my looks that have made me much more confident than I was back then. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you're more confident, and maybe do you feel more confident than Kim Kardashian yet?
Oh, I feel like that's almost an impossibility because of the fact that she is like, I think it's like psychopathically obsessed with herself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have no idea if she's like actually confident because I don't know her as a person.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean and agree that she's probably like psychopathically obsessed with herself?
I don't know her well enough to really say. I mean, I think most celebrities are a little obsessed with themselves.
Yeah, I think she kind of takes it to a whole other level, but I agree with what you mean. I mean, she was married to Kanye West. You kind of have to match that energy.
Yeah, you kind of do have to match that energy for sure.
And anyways, all of that was just to say that like stepping away from the internet was a huge part of being able to do that at all. Like sometimes I'll see people say about like, oh, the comparing yourselves to others on the internet. And I had honestly forgot I was ever like in that kind of a phase. So definitely can happen to anyone, you know what I mean? And with men, it might be a little different. Like instead of like comparing your looks with some woman, comparing like your lifestyle, comparing your jobs. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for men it would be their lifestyle and jobs, what they're doing with their lives. I could be comparing myself to someone who I admire and be like, dang, he has a really good life. I want to be exactly like him and try and do the things that he does. And then at times I may feel like I don't measure up because I'm not as good as he is or whatever. But, you know, sometimes you got to reflect that sometimes it's about the process, not the goal. Like you could have the goal to climb Mount Everest, then maybe you never achieve that goal. But if you train yourself to climb one of the tallest mountains in the United States, like Mount St. Helen, well, maybe not Mount St. Helen. I don't remember what the mountain is in Alaska that's really tall, but
I can't remember right now.
If you train yourself for that and never make Everest, that's totally fine.
Oh yeah, well, because it's like that one saying that shoot for the moon, but wait, shoot for the stars. But if you reach the moon, like you still got it to the moon.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I almost said it backwards. Like shoot for the moon, but if you reach the stars. But whatever. I completely agree with you, and I think that in a way that kind of comparison can be a bit of a positive thing, but it's like people definitely take it too far. I know I did, where it's like, oh, I just feel like sickly, like, oh, I'll never be like that person for whatever reason, instead of being like using that person's life as a inspiration.
Yeah.
And when you step away from the internet, you have like so much more depth to everything you're thinking about, and your mind stops being so controlled by, like, I remember one time I was thinking about the Kardashians so much that my mom told me, like, I'm obviously like too obsessed with them. Like if I was like having dreams about them, like had dreams involving them, I was telling her about them.
Wow.
Like I literally just thought about them too much, because they have a show and they have like their Instagrams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Meta, AI, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yep. We were talking about Meta. We were talking about AI. We were talking about all sorts of things related to that.
The whole idea that back when Meta was trying to do their metaverse thing, I guess it still exists, but I don't know anyone that plays games on metaverse all day and lives in a pod like they told us was going to happen in 2022.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back then, the internet becoming such slop, and seriously, like AI, even if I'm like scrolling on my Twitter, sometimes it's like, see a picture and I'm like, whoa, what am I looking at? And I'm like, oh, it's stupid AI crap. Like, it's like the internet becoming such slop from AI may genuinely make people want to step away, and it could be a good thing for you.
I think so too. I think it'd be a really good thing for people to just step away from internet slop, stay away from it. It's not helpful to you, and it's hard sometimes because, you know, we like our internet slop and we want to digest it and be part of the outrage craze, or what's everyone talking about. We want to be part of the conversation and hear and see what's happening in the world. But in reality, the most important world is our own inner world right now.
And the idea, or the reason we started talking about AI in general, was that our caller said that he used to be really into the Epstein things, and now he thinks like we'll never know, because AI is so good now that you can fake all these documents. Like the government's like, we've released these documents like so freaking late. So first of all, isn't it so insulting to you people that care so much about these Epstein files? I don't blame anyone for caring about the Epstein files. I get it, because it's like, if there was truly like actual pedophilia going on, and it's possible that any big name, you know, celebrities and politicians and people with power in America were in it doing that, we should know that. Like, even if it's just like somebody like a business owner, we should be able to stop doing business with them. And if it's not even possible for them to like literally go to prison, you know, and I'm talking about like pedophilia.
Yeah.
I don't blame anyone for caring a lot about the Epstein files. And I think some people use it as just my team, because some people are just like, oh, I bet Trump's on it. I want Trump to be found to be on it specifically, and not, you know, like my guys. But I think a lot of people with this issue, that when they care about it because they're like, I don't care who is on it. I think we should know. And so it's just that the reason I'm not one of those, I don't really fall under that camp. I'm not one of those people out there talking about it, is because I am more like the caller, but I didn't really think about it in terms of AI. I just know that they're not going to tell us the truth about that. Like, they're not going to tell us if Donald Trump has been a pedophile for, you know, blackmail purposes so he can gain more power.
No, they're not going to tell us anything about anything. They don't want us to know. They don't want to let us know what's really going on. They'd rather hide it in some place somewhere and never tell you.
And just the fact that his own base cared so much about it, and he like teased like that he was going to come out with them, and he never did, is so freaking insulting to them.
Oh yeah.
And it's so crazy to me that anybody like would trust him ever again. You know what I mean? Like, his ratings are apparently really far down. It's surprising to me that anyone rates him highly.
It would surprise me too. And the thing is that when we think about it, and when we think about Trump and the Epstein list, every time he's asked about it, he deflects now. He just ignores the question. It doesn't seem to acknowledge its existence, or he changes the subject. So it's my opinion that he's actually on the list.
I don't really have that opinion. I just don't really know. Like, I just don't know. Truly.
Sure.
And whenever I hear something where people are saying, like, oh, this is like proof he's not on it, it just seems sketchy, and I'm like, oh, I bet he's on it. But at the same time, whenever I think about, like, people being in power, like, I think that they've all done crazy stuff like that, if not literally just, like, exactly that, like pedophilia for blackmail purposes to raise up, like, human sacrifice and stuff like that. And the reason I say that is I'm not, like, jumping on some kind of bandwagon and just saying, like, oh, the satanic elites. Like, I found this website called The Vigilant Citizen in 2011, and so many people on the planet that are high up in power do these same exact weird little things, and they are signals to each other that they're in on the same game. And they have such dark themes in the movies and in the stuff that they want to sell to us. They want to sell us a psychopathic mindset because that's what they are. Like, the AI, I mean, a robot, the idea of a robot coming out and actually, like, looking like and acting like a human is the ruler's dream, because it's something that can actually act in this world with will, but does not have a heart, and, like, doesn't have a human soul or ability for actual empathy. And that's what they are. They want to take as much power as possible, and they don't care who they hurt. Of course they're going to do things like kill people and be pedophiles and stuff. It's just so obvious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's obvious to the people who are here on the show, you and me, and it's obvious to a lot of other people, but for some reason people ignore pedophilia going on their favorite. People ignore pedophilia happening with their favorite institution. I'll put it that way.
When I learned this from Mark Passio from the podcast and internet radio show called What on Earth is Happening, and you can go to whatonearthishappening.com, I think it is, to listen to that. And the idea with that show is you listen to it from episode 1 and you won't regret it. It's so good.
Okay.
So I learned this from him, that the Yale, it's not a fraternity, but group that calls itself Skull and Crossbones, the reason that the skull and the crossbones are their symbol is because it's, like, intellect and power, like literal ability to, like, your arms and hands represent your ability to move in the world and do things in the physical. It's just skull and crossbones because there is no heart involved. It is just doing things, having intellect, and having my ability to reason, but not my heart involved in my decisions, doing whatever it takes to get ahead and get things done that are part of their will. And that's like an evil thing.
It definitely is. It definitely is, because, you know, you can't use aggression to control people, or force to control people, or coercion.
It's like people on our side, they sometimes aren't as organized and focused as these bad people. So we just, like, let them go ahead and take all the power because we're, you know, like, a little bit, I don't want to say held back, but we're focused on things like creating beauty in our life and love and our families, and things that people who just care about nothing but power and get to these crazy heights of wealth and power, they think that we're weak for that. They think, like, look what they're, like, just sitting around cuddling their dog. Oh, ridiculous. I'm making so much money right over them. And that's why I just don't trust anyone like Elon Musk or Donald Trump. Like, if they weren't doing crazy stuff, like, you know, is it alleged from people with the, you know, theories about the Epstein files, if they weren't doing that, I'd be shocked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's really that possible in this world we live in to get that far ahead and get that insanely rich and powerful, because that's the second part. It's like, you can be rich, but no one lets you into their clubs and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have the wealth and the prestige to get into certain clubs, for sure.
And I think that you have to be showing them that you're part of their weird little club. Like, they are weirdos. All the people I used to care about, like the Kardashians and stuff, they do nothing but put out weirdo crap. Like strange imagery with like Kim Kardashian let her kids be in this music video with FKA Twigs that was like satanic and creepy and gross.
Wow. And
Kanye West is complaining about it before it happened. He was saying that Kim was going to start exploiting their kids, and he got like his rights taken away, I'm pretty sure. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. Bring up whatever is on your mind. More coming up. Is the United States going to go to war with Venezuela? Did you hear about that, Riley?
I heard rumblings about Venezuela and U.S. going to war.
603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Call in with whatever's on your mind.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Now, you also said in another video that the moon is an iPod. Can you explain that one?
I believe the moon, the reason why it turns the color that it does is because it fills up with the humidity and water from the transmission of electrons or electricity. I believe that we're upside down being pulled by magnets right now. Actual ocean is in the sky, and they're reserving that sky. The reason we have thunder and lightning is because of the shock waves that go through the two skies up above. Otherwise, where's the thunder and lightning going to come? Because there's no way the clouds are that thick, or the planes wouldn't be able to go through it.
Have you ever been abducted by aliens?
No. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I think so. 45 minutes every single night.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still oppose the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Everson's Ira Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realise that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. The Red Fort in New Delhi was the site of a deadly blast this week. The Indian government called it a terror incident. No group claimed responsibility, but police identified a key suspect, a doctor who was driving the car that exploded on Monday close to the iconic tourist attraction, killing 13 people. FSN's Neha Punia sent this report from New Delhi.
A day after police teams reportedly identified the prime suspect in the Delhi explosion case, we've now seen search operations take place at the university where he worked. He was a junior professor at a university in the neighbouring state of Haryana. The same university saw some doctors being arrested and detained just hours prior to the blast, and bomb-making material was found on them. Police teams have not said whether the two are directly linked or not. We've also seen police teams identify shops where explosive materials were bought for this explosion. These shops are located in the region of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. FSN's Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
George W. Bush may be retired from politics, but he's keeping busy with his new hobby of painting. Today, the Picasso-in-chief tweeted his latest picture, a turkey sandwich and glass of lemonade in front of the ghost of the Iraqi child that follows him everywhere. Rebecca Mira has been following the flourishing art career. He's pretty good, Rebecca.
Yeah, well, Rachel, Bush doesn't claim to be a great artist, but as he put it, not bad for an old man, huh?
Not bad at all. He says he likes painting simple things he sees in everyday life, like his dogs, that dead Iraqi child. You can see that Bush's art is improving over time if you take a look. At first, he could barely draw the Iraqi child's transparent hands, but now they look much more realistic.
Much more. You know, I'm not surprised that he's getting better. Bush practices constantly.
And Laura Bush says he's more focused than ever, locks himself away for hours at a time and won't talk to anyone while he's painting.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if history will look back on Bush as a politician or the next Rembrandt. Up next, a study found that drinking red wine once a day can help the body get hammered.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Riley O'Bill.
And in the last segment, I teased a little bit the next article we were going to talk about. And this from the Wall Street Journal says another U.S. attempt to topple Maduro would be a disaster. And that just made me think, holy crap, are they actually considering trying to go into Venezuela and topple Maduro? I hope not.
I hope not as well, but it could be, it's possible that Trump could say, well, you know, he's a socialist dictator, we need to topple him because he's a socialist and bad for the people, which is true. But regardless, if the people want to choose socialism, it's not up to someone else to say you can't choose socialism.
Exactly, like another country or Trump or us.
Yeah.
And then it's like they're going to always bring this to the idea that, oh, there comes a point where they're not choosing it, they're being forced into it. And I honestly it sounds very callous, but I just think to myself, that is not Americans' problems. There are people in America who are just regular people living their lives, not super rich, and they need to, solve everybody's problems in the world. You know what I mean? Like, there are people like living paycheck to paycheck. Why the hell is it their responsibility to try to fix anything for Venezuelans?
It's not. And that's the thing, is we presume that, hey, we got all this wealth in America, we should go spend it on other countries rather than, fixing our problems first.
Spreading democracy,
yeah, we gotta
Riley.
spread democracy, and why would I want to spread democracy when it seems so terrible at times?
Well, democracy is just a mob choosing who to rule the mob, but
it's just the mob choosing who to harm and rob and that sort of thing. So, that's...
And go to war with, apparently.
Yep. Democracy is mob rule. Congratulations, folks. You got mob rule.
So, let's get into this article from the Wall Street Journal to see if that's what they're really telling us, that Trump is trying to...
news source, by the way.
Yeah. The Wall Street Journal. The ones that took down their article just when Trump threatened to sue them recently about, that thing where they reported that Trump drew a picture in a birthday card to Epstein.
Yep, I remember us talking about that on the show.
Ian never even got the article and the physical copies. He gets Wall Street Journal in prison. He never got the article, and I was like, it's weird. It's here on the internet, but they took it out of their physical copies.
That is weird.
So, another U.S. attempt to topple Maduro would be a disaster. Trump tried once before to bring down the Venezuelan dictator, prompting millions of Venezuelans to flee. Is a repeat on the horizon? I don't remember Trump doing that. Do you know what they're talking about?
I don't know what they're talking about.
Didn't know Trump has tried to topple him. Like, I know about him blowing up all these ships and saying that they came from Venezuela, but anyways, it says the U.S. appears to be preparing to attack my country. Let's see who the writer is. It says Quinso Toro, maybe, I guess that's how I'm going to say it.
Okay.
The U.S. appears to be preparing to attack my country. That's a sentence nobody wants to write. For us Venezuelans, though, it's especially bitter. For years, we looked to the U.S. to support our fledgling democracy movement against an authoritarian government, happy to rewrite history to suit its political convenience. And it's like what we were just saying about democracy not being that great. It's like, it sucks. These people have been handed these two false choices for a long time, or more than two. Like, they're one of those countries that have lots of parties.
Yeah.
They've been handed these false choices for a long time, and maybe at the beginning people really were choosing the authoritarian, socialist regime that he is part of. I don't know what his party is called off the top of my head. But at this point, he just kills all the opponents. Literally. You heard about that?
I didn't hear about that. Wow.
In the most recent election there were just, opponents were just dying and getting imprisoned and stuff.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, socialism is a path to death for most people, and, if you want to rule the roost in socialism, you got to kill off your opposition to make sure they never take power.
So he continues, Mr. Toro. Yep, Toro. Now, in a bizarre twist of fate, our country faces an attack by an authoritarian American government that is happy to rewrite our history to suit its own political convenience. And Riley, it looks like it's making me sign in. I didn't realize it wasn't signed in, so...
Dang it.
Well, luckily the password is saved here. Nope, it's not. So, what do you know about, Okay, I'm signed in. I was going to ask, what do you know about Venezuela and how it got to the state it's in anyway?
I don't know anything about it. I just know Free Talk Live has talked about Maduro being a bad person since I've been a listener to the show, so I know how horrible the Venezuelan government actually is. So I don't know how they're governed, and I don't know how they got in that situation. I don't know exactly what's going on over there now because I haven't really looked into it.
I wanted to know when he got elected. So it says Nicolas Maduro first became president of Venezuela in 2013 after being elected following Hugo Chavez's death, who was also a bad guy.
That's right. I do remember Hugo Chavez now.
Yep.
2013 is a long time to be a leader of the country. That's 12 years.
I think Hugo Chavez was the one that named the bolivar, which is their currency, the strong bolivar when it was doing really bad in hyperinflation, and he was like, I know, I'll fix it. I'm just going to name it the strong bolivar.
And knock a few zeros off of it.
What?
And knock a few zeros off of it.
Oh, yep, exactly. It's ridiculous, and obviously that failed, that currency.
Yep.
We have a few failed currencies in the studio with us. I'm not sure if we have the bolivar. I can't really see them from where I'm sitting. So
I know Daryl W. Perry got the bolivar. I don't know if anyone left the bolivar here, but definitely worthless currency.
There's a beard from Beard Talk Live sitting in the way of one of them, and the other one's just too far away for me to see it, even with my contacts in. So it says he was first elected after Hugo Chavez's death in 2013. He won a second term in May 2018, though the vote was boycotted by the opposition and faced widespread accusations of irregularities, leading to many countries not recognizing his victory. And then the third term was 2024, this one I was talking about, where people were killed left and right. Maduro was declared the winner of the July 2024 political election and was sworn in for a third term in January 2025. This election was also highly contested and not recognized by many countries, including the United States. Oh, wow. I didn't know that he wasn't recognized in the United States. I guess it makes sense, but...
Yeah, it makes sense because, the United States is against evil government, so they say.
And I remember us talking on Free Talk Live on a show I was on with maybe Ian about how it's just so bad down there that the prisoners basically are in control of the prisons.
Yeah.
It sounds so crazy, but basically some of the worst prisoners just became basically like gang members, took over the prisons and run it for the rest of the prisoners. It's like a literal, what is that study called? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where there were two groups of people and some got made the guards and some got
Stanford experiment.
Stanford experiment?
Something like that, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. It's like a real life Stanford experiment. Well, we have Sarah on the phone. Sarah in New Mexico. Speaking of socialists or communists, I guess. Sarah, are you a socialist or just a communist?
I think isn't that pretty much the same thing? Well, then our current mayor, he's being accused of being a socialist because he supports the community. What is it? Supermarket where it's owned by the state. It's not like Albertsons or it's not a company that owns it. It's a state-owned grocery store. He supports
this whole idea
that
I
support it.
The new mayor in New York City is trying to promote. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So your mayor in Albuquerque is now in favor of the same thing there?
Right. He's in support of it. And then he's being accused of being a communist. Like he's like the Banjami. And so, but I'm in support of it.
I guess I mixed them up. I was thinking for some reason that socialism is more radical and worse, but this from the internet, you asked if they're basically the same thing. It says communism is a more radical, theoretical form of socialism that advocates for the total abolition of private property, social classes, money, and the state, with resources distributed based on need, often through a revolutionary totalitarian system. Sarah's the communist, so she already accepts, as much of it as she wants.
Well,
you can get.
I think it's one of the same. To me, to me, isn't socialism kind of more adapted around a capitalism? So it's like they call socialism if they have communism within a capitalist system.
It says that
that's what they have.
Here from Google, it's not the most reliable source. It says that in socialism, it allows for private property, but the means of production are all communally owned.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a definite. I don't know about it. That to me, it's the same. But I just want to say that. So we're down to I don't know so our current mayor is being accused of being a communist, but I think communism is good for New Mexico.
Why do you believe that communism is good for New Mexico? Why do you believe that communism is good in general?
Well, it's a system without Paris Hilton, those people that own these businesses, and they own billions and billions of dollars worth, like Trump that own that. So it's a system without the billionaire capitalist.
Okay, but what's the incentive to keep that system alive if everyone just doesn't want to contribute anymore?
Well, everybody does want to contribute.
No, they don't.
Well,
even right now, there are tons and tons, millions of people that don't want to contribute. There are people when they weren't going to get their SNAP benefits, their food stamps, there were people making TikTok saying why y'all want me to work so bad? I just don't want to work.
Yeah,
that's literally
there are people doing
thing.
that, and it's really sad that there are people out there who do not want to work. I think there's value in finding work. I don't care what it is. Find value in your life and make value for other people through work.
Well, police department, public schools, fire department, they're all communist. It's owned by the state. It's not a corporation.
Guess what, Sarah? Those don't have to be run by the state. They can be run by the free market. The problem is that people become so enslaved to this idea that we got to have a government do it for us because they're the ones going to raise the money. They've got to be the one to raise the money. But no, we can do it through the free market because the free market will have incentives for people to be firefighters and police officers because those systems will be needed as cities get bigger and people live together more often.
But they're owned by the state.
They don't have to be owned by the state.
They are currently, Sarah, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's just right now the government largely builds the roads. Well, at least hires the people to build the roads. But it used to be not very long ago that it was all private companies that built the roads.
Oh yeah, I called in about the Dylan White, that one that our mayor is running against. He used to be a public safety officer for a year and a half, 19 months, under the former mayor. They're both Republicans. And the thing is that he kind of sucked. They only had 800 police officers. They were supposed to have 1,500 or something. So when he had a job there, the city had a high crime rate still then. So there's nothing to show for it when he claims that I'm going to end the crime, I'm going to end the homeless, I'm going to hire more police officers. He wasn't doing it back then. So that's the proof in the pudding. So if he couldn't do it when he was employed by the past mayor, what is he claiming that he's going to do all this hiring more cops and reducing all the crime? It's a bunch of nonsense. So that's my take on it.
So your mayor that is in favor of these socialist grocery stores is a Republican?
No, that he's a Democrat.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, but the one that's running against him, he's a Republican.
Yeah.
And, his big plan is to shut down all of these homeless shelters that Mayor Keller had built up for eight years. He just wants to treat them so horrible. If they have such a hard time, they're just going to get run down a city. Instead of getting them help, to, get him a shelter, get him a social worker, get sobered up. And
why is it the responsibility of the city to do that? Why is it not your responsibility to do that, Sarah?
Well, I try to help people out when I see them. I try to help them out with money.
Okay.
But, there's societal problems,
Fine, but why should we have the government fixing the societal problems? It should be you and I fixing the societal problems. For the individuals that are creating the problems in the first place. Let's fix them together. We don't need government to fix these problems, Sarah.
Well, the government represents us.
No, it doesn't.
We elect people.
No, it doesn't represent you. These people with titles do not represent you.
Well, I do think they represent us because the Democratic mayor is going to win because that's who lives here in New Mexico, and Albuquerque is mostly Democrat. So when we have a vote, the Republicans get wiped out because the Democrat vote wipes them out because it reflects the population. So you're saying that your vote doesn't count, you don't care, it doesn't represent nothing, but I do think that it really matters and reflects on our elections.
Well, anything else you want to say to her, Riley?
No, I think we're good.
Sarah, thank you for the call. Sarah does dutifully always call into the show and bring up topics for us to discuss with her. Thanks for the call,
She
Sarah.
does, and she calls regularly.
Yeah, and I enjoy that people call in. The number is 603-283-6160 because it gives us new things to talk about. I am not in the mood to argue about socialism today. It's like, I completely agree with what you're saying, Riley, and we've all, kind of said the things over and over, and it's like, I feel less and less like, recently, I just feel less and less like I can actually convince people. It's like, if you don't understand the concept that, like, yeah, the police currently are run in a socialist manner, but they don't have to be, and it could be better. How am I supposed to have a conversation with you? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, and it's really frustrating to have conversations with people who are not willing to understand the concepts. I mean, we labor on this show to try and teach them, but we can only do our best, and we can explain it to you till we're blue in the face, but if you're not willing to listen and understand our position fully, then we're not willing to have conversations with you.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not willing at all. It's just like kind of a boring subject altogether, like that specific one.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know, I kind of like wish Sarah had different things to bring up, but at the same time, it's interesting to ask her if she's a communist or a socialist, in my opinion. She said that she just doesn't see the difference, so that's just more of she just doesn't know what she's talking about kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I read to her a pretty big difference, and she said it sounds like the same thing to her. Like, in socialism, this is still extremely bad. Like, so bad that, yeah, maybe it's, like, a really small difference, but in socialism, the means of production are communally owned, but there could still be private businesses. That would be awful. That'd be really, really bad. But communism prohibits private property altogether. All property is communally owned.
Yeah. You will own nothing and be happy, essentially.
Sorry, I had to cough and accidentally muted you when I
No
coughed.
worries. No worries. Yeah, so, the people we talk about the World Economic Forum here on the show, and the World Economic Forum has purportedly said that you will own nothing and be happy, and that's just what communism is. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, but you won't be happy. That's just what your overlords will still be saying while you're unhappy.
Yep, that's what they will be saying. The overlords will end up getting the best chocolate, the best caviar, and the poor will be absolutely starving in the streets, unable to grow their own food.
So Richie Rich brought it up, and it really did scare me, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since he said it, but he said what he thinks they're going to do in New York, where they've elected this socialist mayor, is that, well, they've got enough money in New York City. Like, that's where tons and tons of billion and millionaires live, big businesses, stuff like that. They have enough money where they can survive a little bit off of what they already have and go ahead with these socialist things that they're wanting to implement, policies. And it will look like, because it's cushioned, it will look like it's doing well for a little while.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to feed everybody this idea that, look, it was successful. And other cities are going to start copying it. And it's just going to go deeper and deeper until it's like you're too deep into this socialism thing and you can't get out now. And by the time you start realizing that you're not happy.
And that is the big concern, right? Because New York City is one of the biggest cities in the world. It's the financial center of the world. Essentially, the U.S. is, and Great Britain is to some extent. But you're right. You know, you have a lot of people having big businesses going to New York City, spending all the money, and it's definitely going to be a cushion. And I heard this year that Mandani wants to use the Macy's parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, as a way to fundraise for some of these programs. I have no problem with people wanting to fundraise for programs, but let's do it voluntarily. Like,
what is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade at all? Like, is it just private completely?
I think so. I think it's not run by the city at all. I think it's run by Macy's. But essentially, he wants to use it as fundraising for his government programs. And okay, the more you can fundraise if you want, that's fine. What I have a problem with is if he forces a business to do that. Like Macy's is forced to say, you have to give in to this. And that's the problem.
This is kind of a weird way. AI is just being weird about my answer, but I guess it is owned by Macy's, the company. So I said, is Macy's Thanksgiving parade privately owned? And it says, no, it's not privately owned, but it's privately produced event, funded and organized by the company Macy's. I mean, I know, like, it's in the name, Macy's, but in my mind, it's like they could have, like, been bought out by now, you know, something like that. I don't know. It says the event is completely funded by Macy's, which considers itself an annual gift to the nation. I love Macy's, the store. I hate to say it. It's, like, kind of seems a little basic, and I wouldn't have never thought it would be a store that I loved as, like, a young teenager where it's, like, I wanted more, but it has everything, and it's a beautiful store.
I think I've been to Macy's once or twice in Utah.
Apparently there's like a 15-story one in New York City. I've never been to it.
That's massive.
603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up. Call in with whatever's on your mind. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. Call in and tell us what's on your mind. Change the subject. It's up to you. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Ever since Ira Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realise that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour, after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and the number here is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Sorry. You were censored, Riley.
That's okay. I get censored a lot here on the show. No worries. We're all going through life, Bonnie.
But if you're tired of that on social media, if you're tired of the oppressive rules and social and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. And you have Riley and Bonnie on the air with you tonight on Free Talk Live. And in the last segment, we got a little derailed. The word isn't really derailed because Free Talk Live is for you to call in. But Sarah changed the subject and brought up that her Democrat, aka socialist, mayor of Albuquerque in New Mexico is in favor of these socialist, state-owned grocery stores that Mom Donnie has been
it doesn't surprise me because
wanting.
These people who love centralized government, who love saying, oh, we need to take care of the poor, aren't the ones who are going to be digging in their pockets themselves. They're going to be saying, we can't have people like Elon Musk having so much money. We gotta have government-run stores to make sure no one goes hungry, make sure we steal from the poor. And inevitably, government-run stores do not work in the long run.
It's funny you say that, and I just pulled or started Googling looking for an article, and I found one. Wait, is this something that you brought in, Riley? About a story about how the grocery stores won't work? Or maybe it was like something very similar, like you brought in a story from Reason.
I don't recall.
About something that he wants to do isn't going to work, and I definitely wanted to talk about it tonight. Okay, it just says, this is from Reason, and it says, college graduates put socialism on the ballot.
Yes, I did bring in that one, and that's it from Connor Boyack, who's the author of the Tuttle Twins. I know he's a good writer, and so we definitely got to get into that if we have time.
And so we'll get into that, and also I pulled up an article that just says 3 reasons why Zoran Ma'am Donnie, the city-run grocery stores will fail, and I'm just going to quickly read those 3 reasons. But first, we're going to go to the phones. If you want to call in, 603-283-6160, and Skeeter, you're on the phone with us. Skeeter, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? What?
Born in an HOA. Hey, Riley.
What?
Does the board of directors represent the general will of the voters?
No, it does not. They're just people.
The board of directors of what?
Of an HOA.
Oh.
The general will of the voters.
No, the voters can represent themselves and should represent themselves.
Well,
I
if
don't even
you
know what
want
that
to try
question
that
means. It's like,
system
are
out,
they set up differently in different places?
I don't know. I don't really care about HOAs. I think they're terrible organizations.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be part of one.
The voting system depends on how you distribute the votes. In a mixed capitalist system like we have now, it's distributed uniformly.
We don't
but
live
only
under
applies
an HOA called the United States. That's not
really
the
don't.
same thing.
It's not the same thing at
So
all.
annoying how he always tries to make that sound like that's the
It
exact
is
same
really annoying because he doesn't really get that we're not... A country is not an HOA, and an HOA is not a country. They're not similar
Okay,
at
so
all.
how is it significantly different? You keep saying that, but you never give an argument, just like you always do, Riley. But this is not
because everybody agreed
primary
before
question.
moving into this place that they are going to live under these rules, and they're like, it's like crappy, and I wouldn't want to live under a place where my neighbors can vote away my rights. But that's what those people agreed to.
In the case of the United States, you don't consent to being born on a plot of land.
Hold on. No, so you're referring to people coming from the outside of the HOA coming in, right? Like the naturalized foreigners.
And it's not
They sign a
possible to be
contract.
born into a HOA and just be forced into it and not allowed to get out of it unless you move to another country. That's not a thing in an HOA. They don't just say like, all right, you're 18 now, you're part of the HOA. That doesn't happen. You have to agree to it.
That doesn't happen.
You have to agree
if you're born
to it.
in an HOA, you can be physical. So here's the only difference when you analyze
that's the difference,
an
and
HOA
I
versus
told
what we
you.
have now. Like, no, here's the difference between when you compare an HOA and what we have now. The only difference that don't change the analysis of what I'm talking about is that an HOA is not self-contained, right? It's within a bigger comprehensive HOA, which is the United States, which has to worry about both domestic
making sense.
defense,
You just said an HOA is not
It's not making sense, but not at all. The United States is just an idea. It's not anything real.
Another huge difference is like scale.
Capitalism, Riley.
Skeeter. The other huge difference is scale. Like,
hold on.
No, the whole other difference is scale. Like,
take him down, Bonnie.
A neighborhood is something I can see
you can't
people.
do it alone, huh, Riley?
I can see people be able to come to decisions together and make decisions together because, like, something like removal of snow. I can see a neighborhood being able to make that decision together to come together and pay for that. But me and the people of freaking Hawaii have nothing in common for us to be voting on together.
We're thousands of miles apart. We're unable to communicate. I mean, we can communicate today, but 200 years ago, they couldn't communicate as easily. Mm-hmm. They're thousands of miles apart. The people in Hawaii need something different than I do. You need something different than me. We are all individuals. Individuals make individual decisions. A country is not an HOA, and an HOA is not a country. I don't know why Skeeter keeps making this fallacious analogy.
And the other stupid thing about it is, like, HOA or country, it's stupid to act like you are represented by another person just because you voted. That's
right.
You didn't get a letter to them just because you voted saying what you want, and then they have to do it because you're represented by them, as if they're like your assistant or something. They have to, or they get fired.
If Stu and Colin and Chris Wade all voted that Bonnie should represent me, that doesn't mean Bonnie is going to represent me. It means I should represent myself and can represent and should be able to represent myself.
So we have another caller on the line. Skeeter's just like a really annoying loser who likes to call in with this same idea over and over and over, and like can never defend what he talks about and talks over us and yells and laughs in that stupid laugh, and it's just lame and old.
Yeah, it's lame and old. Get a new shtick, dude.
So don't feel like we'll hang up on you if you call in at 603-283-6160. We have another caller on the line, Turd Ferguson in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, HOAs are boring and stupid.
I agree.
Dude, my hot tub kicked so much ass tonight. Oh my God. It's like perfect hot tub weather here in beautiful Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm sorry, the Commonwealth of Shrewsbury. I don't even know how to put that into a Commonwealth.
Is that a common? I would just think just Pennsylvania is, right? But I don't know.
I think Pennsylvania and Massachusetts are.
In Virginia,
Yeah,
but I just meant like not Shrewsbury isn't one, right?
No, I don't think so. I think Shrewsbury is an incorporation, unfortunately. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, living here is just so awesome that it's like, I'd be like, okay, if you really want to call Shrewsbury a Commonwealth, go ahead.
This is funny. Oh my God. I googled, are the towns in Pennsylvania commonwealths themselves? I didn't think the answer is yes, but the Google AI overview said no, they're not commonwealths themselves. Rather, Pennsylvania is a commonwealth, a term that is legally interchangeable with state in the U.S. and has no bearing on the status of its towns. But that's funny because we have a caller. Not sure if he listens anymore because I haven't heard from him in a while, like 2 months or something. But he is always saying, making sure we say that he's from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, not the state. And we're always like, what's the difference? And this here says it's interchangeable legally.
Yeah, of course it is. And you're talking about the guy who wishes he was Robert E. Lee of the Confederate Army, which I just think is ridiculous.
Well, he is quite a character, that Ricky is.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine, but Pennsylvania would be fine without him, just to be clear. I was going to say,
That's
besides the hot tub water just being amazing, Katy Perry's Band-Aids is pretty good.
Oh, I really do like it. It's actually so nice. I think it's better than basically anything on 143. I hate to say it.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I mean, there's some bangers on 143.
I like Crush, but I hate how none of them have like a bridge. It's weird.
Is Band-Aid by Katy Perry her latest song? One of her latest songs?
What'd you ask, Riley?
Is Band-Aid by
Yes.
Katy Perry? Okay.
It's her brand new song.
Okay.
It's a single, not
It's the
known.
latest song. I do want to say this before we move on. There are some bangers on 143. Crush is a banger. Lifetimes is a banger. Nirvana is a banger.
I love Nirvana, yeah. That's actually true. Maybe I like Nirvana more than Band-Aids, but go ahead.
Yeah, there are a couple others, but Band-Aids actually reminds me a lot of 2013, 2014 Katy Perry, which is pretty sexy. I will say,
Prism?
Yeah, kind of. Maybe slightly post-Prism, I don't know, but I do like it. The music video is cool. Katy looks like $1,000,000. Her nipples are hard as rocks in that video. They look like they could cut glass, which I noticed because I've seen the video a couple times now. There's this one scene where she's just riding down the escalator in this white shirt, and I'm just like, mwah, chef's kiss. I still love Katy Perry. I just wish she wasn't dating that Canadian cuck.
Oh, that's such a good point. We have to bring this up. Katy Perry is now officially dating. I told the listeners that I heard rumors and stuff. Katy Perry is now officially dating, what's his name?
Justin Trudeau.
Thank you, Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau.
I completely
Canada.
blanked there. I had his face in my head, but yeah, it's so weird. I don't like
It's funny, I didn't have my face in his head.
He's so irrelevant. He's even hard to kind of remember. But I do know he's a huge beta male, and I wish Katy would just set a better example for Katy used to set such a good example, such a positive message for girls and young women everywhere with her album Teenage Dream. She should be consistently putting out that positive message. Dating beta males is not putting out that positive message. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, man.
I don't really approve of anybody she's ever dated or married. Like, she married Russell Brand, and he just seemed like a crackhead even from back then. Now he seems just as much like a crackhead. And she dated Orlando Bloom. I think she might have married him. She had a baby with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Russell Brand better than any of them.
Oh, it looks like we have summoned Ricky. I don't know how to get both people on at the same time. Want me to try?
I mean, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I don't know how Ian did it.
Yeah, I wish we could do that at the same time. We'll figure out a way to do that later someday, and maybe I can call in on the Matrix chat, and then Skeeter and Ricky can call in however they want through the phone, and we could probably do it that way. But I was gonna say, I just watched Casablanca again. I love that movie. Rick Blaine is probably the greatest character of all time. He was a loving man who was unfortunately shrouded in cynicism, but he was kind. And I think Rick Blaine is just an amazing character. He's kind of one of those characters, like, you know how like boys and young men, they all look up to, Luke Skywalker and maybe the T-100 and the T-800 from Terminator 2 and maybe Rocky. Well, I think they should be looking up to Rick Blaine even more than any of them.
Bogart.
Yes, I love Humphrey Bogart, and especially
really
Rick Blaine.
Good looking.
Yeah, he was just this kind of classic sort of. He's just such a Sigma male archetype, something that all men can really strive to be. You know what I mean? And we need more Humphrey Bogarts. No, we need way less Sam Smiths and way more Humphrey Bogarts. And
what is your definition of a Sigma male? Because I know not everyone agrees. At least it's not easy to know what that means.
Yeah, it is a tough one. In my opinion, a Sigma male is basically an alpha male who just doesn't care. Like, he's totally content. Like, alpha males can get angry and they can get sad and all that stuff. Sigma males are totally detached. They're so detached and so cool. They're almost like, I want to say they're almost like the Caleb Jones, like the former Free Talk Live advertiser. Like, he had his alpha male 2.0. I almost consider Sigma males and alpha 2.0s to kind of be like on the same level. Like the advanced alpha male. And I'm sure not everyone is going to agree with that definition, obviously. But I think that's a good kind of benchmark to set. And I just think that Humphrey Bogart and specifically Rick Blaine is just a great sort of archetype that men can look up to, and Humphrey Bogart probably didn't have six-pack abs,
Mm-hmm.
Even looking at me.
He has huge hands. I was just looking at this picture of him hugging Ingrid Bergman in that movie, and I was like, holy crap, he must not be... They must have not been making all of the celebrities trannies back then because he has huge hands. He looks like a real man.
He had big hands, but keep in mind, the cameras were a little bit weird back then, too. So the depth of field and the perspective, it wasn't quite fisheye. I mean, it wasn't fisheye at all, but you are, depending on the camera, and they taught us about this in media school, but it can sort of distort the sizes of things.
I don't know. He has his hands like on Ingrid Bergman's arms. So there's
Ingrid Bergman, dude, she is so sexy.
She's so beautiful.
She was great in that movie, just playing Ilsa. Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, she's a good feminine archetype too. Like her and Audrey Hepburn. I just love Audrey Hepburn. She's gorgeous.
There was this.
And I'm not saying. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Recently on Twitter, people have been posting around these pictures of Audrey Hepburn old, and she was still very beautiful. Obviously, she had like wrinkles, and she looked old because she wasn't doing all these like facelifts and crap like that they do now. And people were saying, honestly, I thought she died young because you only ever see pictures of her young. And honestly, I thought the same thing. I genuinely, if you would have asked me, I thought she died young because you only see pictures of her young, but she's still beautiful. And she died in her 80s, I think.
Yeah, dude, she's such a sexy feminine archetype. Like Audrey Hepburn, Ingrid Bergman, just the class, like that, like them, and maybe to an extent, maybe some other ones. I don't want to quite go as far as Marilyn Monroe, but definitely like Audrey Hepburn. Like, I get compliments on my Audrey. Like, I have a couple actually Audrey Hepburn T-shirts. I especially love wearing them to the club when I DJ, and all the girls are just like, love it. And that makes sense to me because I really think that she's going to make a big comeback too, as like a sort of classical feminine archetype. It's okay. She's a good message. And that's why I like wearing that T-shirt too. Like, she's a good message to send to girls. Like, it's okay to be sexy. It's okay to be feminine. Like, as a matter of fact, men will like you more if you're feminine and beautiful. Like, men don't like it when you're masculine. Like, you don't need to like try to be a boss babe and all that stuff. Like, you don't have to do that. And as a matter of fact, men don't like that. Well, I don't speak for all men, obviously, but I probably speak for most. I don't like that.
I don't know. I think there are more men out there than you know of that don't actually want to, like, take care of a woman and all that stuff. Like, I got broken up with one time because I was just, like, working my regular job, trying to, like, pay my own bills. I didn't ask anything from this guy, and he was just saying I didn't have, like, a future career in mind. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just, like, kind of living my life. It's like, that's so lame.
I don't know who that was, but that is a classic. Donnie, I'm actually glad you brought that up because that's a classic definition of a beta male, of a simp. That's the kind of guy that you don't want to date. You want to date a man who's like, I will lead, and you, like, it's okay for me to lead and make the money and be the head of the household, and your job is to be pretty and keep yourself beautiful, go to the gym, keep your stomach flat, keep your boobs milky, and be pretty. Like, that's what men want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, essentially we do.
Yeah, and I would hate it if my girlfriend was like a boss babe. That would make me so sick. Like, I can't think of anything more horrible than like coming home and talking about your day with your wife, and your wife like almost competing with you about the accomplishments you did that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to come home and first of all, I want to have sex with my wife. That's the first thing I want to do. And then I want to have dinner with her because I want her to be cooking in lingerie. And then when we sit down at the table, I want her to tell me how her Pilates class was and how like she's moving towards like a flatter tummy.
Oh man.
And like, you know, how she like, you know, the new way she shaved down there and all, like, that's what I want to hear about.
Does your girlfriend do these things already, Turd?
Well, a lot of my ex-girlfriends have. I mean, and that's why I dated them. That's what I'm attracted to. You know what I mean? And so I just think that, you know, the classic feminine archetype, you know, like Audrey Hepburn, come home, you know, have her hair down, cooking in lingerie, like just being the female and me being the male. Like, it's okay to have, like, I don't even like saying traditional general. I don't like saying that, but it's okay to like fall back into your femininity if you're a woman. It's okay. And as a matter of fact, men will like you more. If there are any, I don't know if there are ladies that listen to like, I mean, I'm assuming like if there are any radio stations that Free Talk Live is on anymore, I'm assuming it's probably primarily men listening. But if there are any women listening, like, I'm telling you, like,
there are
I'm being
radio
completely
stations.
honest with you.
Riley has uncovered several, and some have emailed me. So we have I think 6 confirmed right now.
Yep.
And it used to be
six still. Oh,
it was
good,
like
thank
180 when I first started Free Talk Live, and then GCN got dropped by Westwood One, and then GCN went out of business. So, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, GCN. Yeah, that was a bad day for radio when GCN went under. But
I completely agree. It was terrible.
Yeah, but even if there are any ladies listening on those last 6 radio stations, I just want you to know that basically everything you're being told is a lie. Like, if you just like, I'm being completely honest with you because I actually care about humanity, and I'm convinced that I'm taking the most humanitarian position on this issue. But if you fall back into your femininity and you just try to be pretty and you let the man be the man and you are okay with being the woman, be his biggest cheerleader, you will be scooped up tomorrow if you just do that. Like, I'm not kidding. Be his biggest cheerleader. Give him sex in the morning, especially. That's the best time to give your man sex, is in the morning when his testosterone is at the highest. And cook, you know, come home. When he comes home, be cooking in lingerie. You'll be happier, by the way. Any woman that does that, they will be significantly more happy than they are right now. Be in a world of dumb boss babes that everyone hates. Be an Audrey Hepburn. That's all I ask.
I don't know. She might have been okay, thanks for the call, Turd. I just don't know enough about Audrey Hepburn's like personal life to know if she was like a boss babe type of woman. But I mean, she died at 63, and that was a long time ago. So I'd assume that was way before like that was a concept. You know, boss babe woman. Like, for a while, women couldn't get like credit cards without their husband's approval. My aunt told me, stuff like that. So I don't know. I was just thinking it'd be kind of funny if she was like a boss babe. But anyways, we also have Ricky from the Commonwealth on. So Ricky, thanks for holding. You're on Free Talk Live. Sounds like you're here to clear your name because Turd was saying some pretty mean things about you.
Well, thank you there, Miss Bonnie. Brother Riley, good evening.
Good evening, Ricky.
Well, I don't know how to take Brother Ferguson. You know, honestly, I don't know if he's serious or not, and you never know with him.
I know, right? That's true.
You know, but I'll be honest with you. He has said some things. He's even said, I don't even live here.
Really? That's stupid.
Yeah, he said that at some point.
Wow.
Yeah, he said that. This is back in the day. He said, I don't sound like somebody from Pennsylvania. What the hell does he know?
Well,
And
you
the
do have a
question is,
strong Southern
I got
accent,
a
Brother
question.
Ricky.
Well, here's the thing. I got a question for him. Is he from the Commonwealth? I was born here. Was he born here, or did he move here?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Like he lives here.
I wish we could have got you on at the same time, but I don't know how to do that. Ian used to do that sometimes.
I'll tell you what, Miss Bonnie, I do know this now. I talked to about 5 different callers in my years doing a double. But I do know the last person I spoke to was Skeeter, and Ian did put us both using a phone at that time because that's all you were using.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's a way. There's time, Bonnie. Maybe, in the future, maybe you could just ask him. It's probably something very simple.
Yes, I should just write it down to get myself or remind myself to ask Ian sometime.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, there was some great radio. Because I'll tell you, some of the people I spoke to. There was a call between me and Ralph the Racist. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember Ralph the Racist.
How was his name?
Oh,
yeah, Ralph the Bigot. Wait, is that him?
No, that's Scott the Bigot.
Scott the Bigot.
It's Ralph the Racist. Scott the Bigot.
Who else, Ricky?
Sarah.
Oh.
Oh, wow. I remember that, too.
Stephen from Ohio.
I remember Stephen from Ohio.
Oh, him.
I think so, yeah.
If you want to hang on and talk more with us, Ricky, you can. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. That's 603-283-6160. Tell us what you think. Maybe you have some opinions on what Turd was saying, like how men should act and how women should act. Or any new subject you want to bring up. More Free Talk Live coming up. Bring up whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. In addition to being one of the world's first cryptocurrencies, Dash was the first crypto project to have a decentralized autonomous organization that to this day continues to improve and promote Dash. Every month, 10% of the mining rewards go into a treasury. Anyone with one Dash to spend can put forward a proposal to the Dash masternodes. The masternodes vet the proposals and decide which ones move forward and are funded by that treasury. Nowadays, DAOs are plentiful, but Dash paved the way by doing it first, nearly a decade ago. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Ever since Iris Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill despite it not containing extensions on healthcare subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour, after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair, Samir Shah, has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. The Red Fort in New Delhi was the site of a deadly blast this week. The Indian government called it a terror incident. No group claimed responsibility, but police identified a key suspect, a doctor who was driving the car that exploded on Monday close to the iconic tourist attraction, killing 13 people. Ever since Neha Punia sent this report from New Delhi.
A day after police teams reportedly identified the prime suspect in the Delhi explosion case, we've now seen search operations take place at the university where he worked. He was a junior professor at a university in the neighbouring state of Haryana. The same university saw some doctors being arrested and detained just hours prior to the blast, and bomb-making material was found on them. Police teams have not said whether the two are directly linked or not. We've also seen police teams identify shops where explosive materials were bought for this explosion. These shops are located in the region of Haryana as well.
Also this week, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, was hit by a suicide attack that killed 12 people and injured dozens more. The body of one of the last hostages remaining in Gaza was returned on Thursday as Phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan neared its completion. Ever since Blake Sifton sent this report from Tel Aviv.
Hamas returned the body of an Israeli hostage on Thursday night after issuing a joint statement with Palestinian Islamic Jihad that they had retrieved a body from the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza. Israel is expected to return the remains of 15 Palestinians to Gaza in exchange on Friday. The bodies of 3 hostages now remain in Gaza, of the 28 that were there when the ceasefire was reached last month. 2 of the deceased are Israeli and 1 is Thai. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
And that was the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
It's the Onion Radio News. A crazy man announces plans to stand in a doorway and yell at cars. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Dennis Fife, an Alhambra, California crazy man, held a press conference today to announce his intention to stand in the doorway of the office building at 2600 Kenilworth Avenue and yell at cars all day.
At approximately 9:30 a.m. on the day in question, shortly after I finish lunging at dogs, I will proceed to the front steps of the Simmons building and yell loudly for 9 hours. The screaming will be broken by a 15-minute fit of rigid catatonia, most likely in the late afternoon.
Among the topics Fife plans to address during his 9-hour rant: the ace of diamonds, bookshelves, the man trying to kill him, plastic bags in trees, Trapper John M.D., and papers everywhere. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and that means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. 603-283-6160. That's the number to call to get in on the conversation with us. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Riley O'Bill.
And we have a caller on the line, held over from the last segment. Ricky from the Commonwealth. What did you actually want to talk about with us here tonight, Ricky?
Well, I just wanted to explain my absence. And in all honesty, I have been known to talk about other topics, but nothing's really, these are things are covered by somebody else or something else. I listen every week, and my area is generally the political arena. There's not much to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can sum it up pretty quickly about what's going on. There's nothing for me to say. That's why I haven't been calling in. I'd like to.
What do you feel about these files that got released by the Democrats? Do you think that...
Well, I'll tell you something. In all honesty, I see what the callers say, and I thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Emails are kind of tough because they're emails. I mean, that could be written by anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. I'll be honest with you. Trump's past history is not in his favor, which the MAGA people just sweep under the rug. You got the, what was it, when he was caught on video that one time, all the Planet Hollywood stuff. I mean, the thing is, if you remember that, and that was pretty crass. And then he had other things. He had it with the Eugene Carroll stuff. He's out of history.
Okay. I didn't know that the Planet Hollywood thing you're referring to. That's when he said grab the woman. He can grab the women. Let you do anything. They'll let you grab them by Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that was lewd.
But the thing is, he's had a long history, and then you had the what was it? Was it the Miss Universe, was it, or something like that? Well, I forget which one. I get them confused. But it was one of those, or Miss USA, one of those things. It might have been Miss USA. And there was talk about that and how he would go in the back of the room where the girls are. And you had all these things. Isn't that a little much for this guy?
Dang.
Or it wouldn't surprise me.
This says, from walking into a teen dressing room to joking about his obligation to sleep with the contestants, Donald Trump is a storied pageant creep. Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, So, but now we're talking, so that's not a far stretch, and he never got nailed for that. So, something's definitely going on now, but I will say emails, you got to have better at that. But, it's funny because, well, if there was pictures in Epstein's safe, they can authenticate those, from the time period of when they were, depending on how they were taken. If they're digital, I don't know about that. Because we're living in this age where it's so easy to fake things. It's getting harder and harder to authenticate stuff, like the caller said.
Yep, I completely agree. And
it'll be interesting to see how we figure life out in the next 5 years, because if we can't tell what's real, then I guess the big thing we're going to have to do is actually spend time with real people.
And the other thing about it is...
And I will make another comment on the government.
Go ahead.
You know, I have to admit, I mean, my answer here on this whole shutdown, I found it to be pathetic. Reason why, this is not a good strategy at all. They wanted to keep these premiums down for Obamacare, for these subsidies. But they lost SNAP. Way to go, guys. Real smooth, you know? And I think that was just terrible, and I think the whole thing was pathetic waste of time. So I could see why those other Democrats crossed the aisle, because I probably would have too, because I'm like, this is not gaining anything for anybody.
Staying shut down?
Yeah, the shutdown. It didn't get any because you lost SNAP. People, you know, are just hung out to dry. And then there's other problems emerging with air traffic controllers, federal workers, all these other things. And it was all for subsidies for Obamacare, but they must have been able to foresee, they must have knew that there would have been other stuff falling down along the ways. So it was a terrible strategy. It's not the answer. Compromise is the answer. These guys just got to figure it out and learn to get along, you know? And they got to figure it out where they can come to some kind of understanding where everybody's happy. That's the true art of politics, and that's compromise.
Do you think
that's what the system works?
Do you think it's just currently that you say that you like to talk about politics, but you don't have much to say about it right now? There's not much to say. Do you think it's just like, why is that happening right now?
I've been noticing it, and I think a lot of it has to do with Trump's approach to things. He hits it hard, he hits it heavy, and by the time he does it, it's done. There's very little to say about it. I'm not going to just sit here and complain.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do that, but still, you know, there's no sense in that. That's not going to gain anything. At least I had a few things to say about it. I mean, I think that honestly, I don't know what Trump's goal is. I'm trying to figure him out. He doesn't make a whole lot of sense, even for his own agenda. I really don't understand him. I really don't, Miss Bonnie, and that's something that troubles me. He doesn't make sense even to his own agenda. Trump 2.0 is very I don't care what the news says. It's very different than Trump 1.0. And he doesn't make a lot of sense to his own agenda and even to his own people.
Right. There are people mad at him.
He doesn't make any sense to Trump.
What do you think changed in Trump to create this change in behavior?
Well, you got this Project 2025 out there, and the odd thing about it, this guy who says he knows nothing about it has been following it to a T, and it's not a good agenda that helps anybody, you know? It's very destructive.
In what ways has he been following it? Because honestly, I just don't know much about it.
Well, it was something that came out of the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank, and it was a book that was put out. And he denied it totally. This is when he was first running for president again. And he said, I don't know about it. I didn't read it. I don't want to read it, the whole thing. But he's been following it to a T. All the things that we've been seeing, this crazy stuff, including his strategies on how to deal with things, were out of that book, you know? So, but I don't know what this is gaining him, because I'll be honest with you, his conduct is very un-Trump-like, how he's conducting himself. He's screwing over everybody.
Maybe that's just how Trump has always been.
Huh?
Maybe that's how Trump has always been. We're just now seeing his true colors.
Well, maybe, because he may be doing just that. Maybe because, I mean, that thought has crossed my mind, because Trump has been very, you know, in his life, he supported Democrats, he supported Republicans, he supported Libertarians. Who knows? You could be very right, Mr. Riley.
Like, are you guys saying maybe he's just always been like work with whoever it is to get what he wants type of guy? That's been pretty good.
Now that's the question. What does
the
this
question
guy
for sure.
want? That's the $64,000 question. What does this guy want?
Mm-hmm.
What is he trying to accomplish? He's doing a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, he's going over the line, like blowing up these boats from Venezuela. Who ever heard of that?
Right. That is like a really good point because
that needs to be looked at because you can't. And there's kids on these boats.
That's a great point that you brought that up because it's like one thing about him is it seems like he keeps bringing things up but not doing anything. But at the same time, he's doing like going full steam ahead, blowing up boats in Venezuela. It's like he talks about things like I'm going to buy Greenland. He doesn't do it. It feels like it's like what's this guy even doing? Just joking around. And then at the same time, he is like basically getting us in a war with Venezuela. It's weird.
He's just a troll, guys.
He wants to make Canada the 51st state too.
Yeah, but I feel like if you say he's just a troll, then like just a troll wouldn't be blowing up ships. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like sometimes I get myself thinking he's just a troll, and then I remember stuff like that. So it's hard to say he's just a troll.
I hate to say it, but I think the biggest thing for Trump with the presidency is pretty thin, and that was to get rid of those cases by Jack Smith, those federal lawsuits. He wanted to get rid of that.
What do you mean? What are
now and then he did great damage to the state cases, which are now starting. They still exist. Now thanks to the Supreme Court, you can't go after this guy while he's president. He has to be out of the presidency.
What are
then
the Jack
he's say,
Smith?
I'm just this old man.
What are these Jack Smith cases? What does that mean?
That was the one was the January 6th case, and then what was the other one? Oh, the other one was when they had the stuff with his lawyer John Eastman and Sidney Powell, his other lawyer, and they had the fake electors. That was the other Jack Smith case. He wanted to make that one looked real bad, and they intertwined that with the state case. So they had a great plan, but they ran out of time. And once he became president, that all just got wiped out because he said, I'm just going to fire Jack Smith. And Jack Smith dropped his cases. Now, the state case still exists. Now, that still exists, but that was used to be Fawny Willis, but she got pulled off the case, her whole office. So they had to start from scratch. I was just hearing recently that that's starting up. But they can't try him while he's president, thanks to the Supreme Court. You know? So I hate to say it, I think the reason for him being president most of all was to get rid of these cases because the way Jack Smith was going about it was really good, you know. Also, he was going about it for saying to the people, defrauding the American people, basically, with Fox and these other things, that he really won the election. That was intertwined in that. He wanted to make that go away, and he did.
So this guy, Jack Smith, was the one targeting Trump? Is that what you're saying?
He was the prosecutor from the Department of Justice.
And all of the things that he was targeting Trump with, that was all after his 2016 election, right?
Right. This was all after January 6th, because January 6th was part of that, you know.
But then why did he run in 2016?
The other one was some of that was the 2020 election.
Do you believe his story that the reason he ran in 2016 is just because Obama said you'll never be president?
No.
Yeah, I don't really believe that either. It sounds like he made up kind of like a lore.
You never know with Trump. He lies so much.
Yeah.
You know, he does. Yeah. I've never seen anybody lie like Trump. Trump lies like I've never seen before. And I think we're just so used to it now, it don't even bother us. You know, nobody even pays attention to these lies.
I know. That's what happens in America these days.
And like his strategy, like Ricky was saying, his thing where he's just like on to the next thing the very next day, and now it's like the news can't keep up and stuff like that. It's like can't really keep up with his lies if you can't even keep up with what he's doing from day to day, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that was something that was a strategy in Project 2025.
Oh.
And Steve Bannon talked about it, too. Hit it hard and heavy, and the media won't even know what to do with it. And I'll be honest with you, half the time I don't know what to do with it. Every day it's something new. Except one thing lately, the whole Epstein thing, he's been real quiet.
Yeah.
He's been real quiet, man. My favorite one was the other night. This was Wednesday night when they had the bill signing. It was a public bill signing. All the press was there for reopening the government. Trump comes out and he's there. He signs it and he says, "I'm sure you have plenty of questions," and he walks off and leaves.
What? Whoa.
I heard about that, yeah.
I did not hear about that. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I already fell asleep
he's
in like
real
big meetings
quiet.
recently.
You know what it is? I think,
Yeah.
you know, we've only been through a year of this stuff. There's 3 years of fun to continue on. And
Oh,
who
yeah.
knows what's
It'll be
gonna
exciting.
happen. Huh?
It'll be exciting to see what happens with Trump and what he does and all the crazy things he's going to get up to.
Not if he puts some
and
more.
I'll try to talk a little more if I can. You know, it's just that I really, you know, I guess I had a little bit of stuff to say, and now that I thought about it, but it's tough to put a finger on Trump. It really is, and the media is having a tough time themselves. They have a tough time putting a finger on him. You know, I don't know what his agenda is. I don't know what he's trying to gain. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. He's all over the place. You know, there's no set agenda going on
Right.
where he's got goals.
Right. It's not that we know of, at least. That's what's really weird about it. He may have some kind of goal to get us in war in Venezuela, and he's going full steam ahead
Well,
there.
that's not good. There's all kinds of problems with that. You can't just blow up boats like that. And there's said to be kids on these boats, and they're answering there's casualties, like they don't even care, you know. And I'm like, is it worth blowing up a boat for some drugs and killing people? I mean, is it really?
The Trump administration seems to think so.
Well, I don't agree.
I don't agree either.
What about the
I don't
blowback
agree.
from that? Like, if Venezuelan children are being killed in American bombs on drug boats, like, holy crap. Like,
and here's the other thing. Venezuela ain't got nothing against us. We're just going to move in. Don't we ever learn? How many times in history have we moved in and uninstalled somebody who's in power and put in our guy? And how many times has it blown up in our faces? We never learn with this.
Yep.
You know, and that's what we're doing once again with this guy. And we shouldn't be doing that. It's their damn country. It's not ours. We shouldn't be doing this.
I hear you.
It's not our country. I mean, you know, I can't believe, you know, there isn't more people complaining about this on a daily basis. It's their country. How would we feel if somebody did that to our country?
yeah, that's a good point. Like, just came in and said, yeah, we're going to take over the government. You know, we think you guys need our form of government. We think you need our type of, you know, capitalism. I mean, democracy is what America says that they're spreading, you know. Well, you know, China thinks we need the CCP, so they just take over. How would we feel?
Well, that's and I totally agree with that. And I say that all the time. I may not like communism, and I may not agree with it, but I don't live there, and it's not my country either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who the hell am I to say? You know, it's their country. You got communism, you got socialism, you got democracy. You have different things around the world. You have dictatorships. And, you know, it's their country. They got to do their thing.
And if it is
We
really a
should not
problem,
be
it's like
sticking our nose in it.
it's not Americans' problem. I hate to say it, but Americans
Well,
shouldn't
I
have to
think
be
it's
funding a
very
war.
I think it's very un-American what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very un-American what we're doing with Venezuela, just like we did with installing Saddam Hussein, and look where that got us.
Exactly.
Another war.
You know?
And the country is always drifting to war. The wars are endless. The politicians lie. Nothing's changed, man. Nothing's changed.
And what happened to Trump being anti-war? That came to an end.
Right, exactly. That's so true.
Oh, but he's trying now to do all these peace deals to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Even when he was running, he said he liked Vivek Ramaswamy's idea to blow up the cartels in Mexico. So, like, that was... People shouldn't have believed him that he's anti-war.
Yeah, I hear you.
Maybe, I hate to say it, but what if Trump's just gone nuts?
I know. I was actually thinking a similar thing. It's like maybe he's just like completely like he's too old or, losing it. Like,
oh yeah, it's entirely
happened
possible.
To Biden. And I could see the stress making someone go crazy.
Yep.
Well, that's about all I got to say about it. As far as Brother Ferguson goes, hopefully he can pair us up and we can clear the air. You don't know how to take him because he said things about me a lot. Like he's fixated on me. He really is. And by the way,
yes,
Brother Ferguson, you can call me Ricky from the Commonwealth. It's fine. And I don't believe I'm Robert E. Lee. But I do have on my battle flag as we speak. Makes me feel good.
Well, thank you for the call.
All right.
Ricky from the Commonwealth. And the number is 603-283-6160. I haven't really decompressed some of my thoughts about Trump in a long time because it's like, it's on purpose. They do it on purpose.
It feels that way. It feels like it's on purpose, that they're distracting us, that they're trying to make us guess what the Trump administration is going to do. And it's just, we can't, it makes it harder to live like this as Americans when they're doing this too, when they're distracting us, when they're, pushing things upon us so fast.
Yep. And it's just like hard to get an opinion of what's going on when you can't even keep up with like what he's doing from one day to the next, and it feels really odd. It's like at least when we had like Obama, at least I knew what he was like up to. It kind of felt like. Does that make sense? Like I was like a kid.
Everything happened at a fairly decent pace, and all of a sudden the Trump administration gets in, and boom, 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 boom. It's one thing after another.
But it's also like you just knew what he was about.
Yeah.
You knew what Obama was about. Like he just was this social planner from Chicago, and obviously we disagree with him, but with Trump, it's like, who the hell is this guy?
He's definitely become unpredictable, and people like that. People definitely like a man who's unpredictable.
I don't really know if that many people like it, considering like his own base is really mad at him for his, like, he was pretending to be serious about
They liked
the
it
Epstein
enough
thing.
to get him elected, and I understand that his base is left, and probably for good reason. I would leave too. But, they liked him enough to get him elected in the first place. So.
Yeah, they feel betrayed, but I don't think they really thought that he was unpredictable. This is like, he's gotten worse.
Yeah, he definitely has.
603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. Thanks for the call, Ricky. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
You can help more people hear the message of liberty by joining Free Talk Live's AMPS program on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. And you'll get access to special perks. Visit amps.freetalklive.com, amps.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. This week saw the end of the longest US government shutdown in history. It was 43 days long. It broke with the Senate and then the House passing the funding measure before Donald Trump signed the bill allowing the government to reopen on Wednesday night. The majority of Democrats still opposed the legislation as it did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans. Ever since Iris Spitzer in Washington, D.C. watched the week unfold and sent this report as lawmakers were making their way back to the U.S. Capitol for that crucial vote in the House.
U.S. lawmakers are scrambling back to Washington from their districts around the country for a vote expected to take place later Wednesday. The key breakthrough came in the Senate on Sunday when 8 Democrats first crossed the aisle to schedule a vote on the bill, despite it not containing extensions on health care subsidies, the main cause of the shutdown in the first place. The shutdown has caused major disruptions to U.S. air travel, as well as food assistance and other government-funded programs.
There were new questions this week over the relationship between Donald Trump and the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and what Donald Trump knew about Epstein's behavior. It followed the release of emails by House Democrats, which called into question the president's previous statements on the matter. Ever since Mitch McCann sent this report.
In one email from April 2011 that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman later convicted of assisting him in his crimes, he wrote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." He also added that an unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote to the author Michael Wolff about Donald Trump. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop, he wrote. The allegations posed in the emails call into question to what extent Mr. Trump knew about Epstein's behaviour, after denying he was involved or had any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Trump has never been charged with a crime related to Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC apologised to President Trump this week for airing an edited version of his January 6th speech, which it said gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action. FSN's Washington correspondent Jagruti Dave has more.
In a statement, the BBC said its chair Samir Shah has separately sent a personal letter to the White House, making clear to President Trump that he and the corporation are sorry for the edit of the president's speech on the 6th of January 2021. It said the BBC has no plans to rebroadcast the documentary Trump: A Second Chance. It also said that while the BBC sincerely regrets the manner in which the video clip was edited, it strongly disagreed that there was a basis for a defamation claim. Donald Trump's lawyers had threatened to sue the BBC for $1 billion in damages. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number to call in to bring up whatever's on your mind. Tell us your opinions. Bring up whatever you want to talk about. That's what Free Talk Live is all about. 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Riley O'Bill.
And we talked in the last segment basically all about Trump. And now I want to talk about Zohran Mamdani, the new mayor of New York City. He won by
New
landslide.
York City.
Yep. He won by landslide, and
he did. People are
basically
excited
socialist.
about it.
Like, I don't know. Wait, he's a Democrat, right? Like, he doesn't run as a socialist. Is that a thing?
No, it's not running. Nope, he's not running as a socialist, but he's running as a Democrat, and we're Democrats are socialists and Republicans.
Yeah, but I agree with that. They're, both socialists, as we know, but in certain ways, as we know, like, Republicans want to socialize police very badly. And they'll get really mad if you call them socialists for it. Me and Chris Wade did that. Mr. Penguin did that, and it was super fun. We went to a pro-cop.
I bet it was definitely a mind changer for them, at least.
I doubt they changed their mind.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
guess you're right.
old New Hampshire Republicans. They were like there to say how much they love the cops, and we were like, hey, Penguin was wearing a shirt that said something about socialism, like I don't like socialism, something like that, and the Republicans kept being like, hey, I love your shirt, thinking we were there with them. And he was like, well, why do you love my shirt if you're for socializing protection services? And they were getting so mad. They're like, I'm not a socialist, you're a socialist. You want me to pay for your blunts and joints. And we were like, what?
No,
Chris
I don't want you to pay for my stuff for me. That's insane.
That was hilarious. So anyways, this article from Reason.com, which is a pretty good news source, I think.
I think so too.
Reason.com, they're libertarian run and, libertarian leaning. 3 reasons why Zohran Mamdani's city-run grocery stores will fail. So we brought this topic up a bit with Sarah when she called. She said that her mayor of Albuquerque, New Mexico, is in favor of city-run grocery stores, and you said that they'll fail. And I want to know, is there any historical reason to think they'll fail? Let's look into what this article says. They say, Zohran Mamdani's plan to open government-run grocery stores would waste taxpayer money, solving a problem New York City doesn't have. So I'm going to go to the numbered lists. 1. Mamdani Marts, that's what they're calling it, Mamdani Marts can't compete with discount grocery chains. Mamdani says that New Yorkers should think of city-run grocery stores as a public option that would deliver cheaper food by saving on rent and taxes, and they wouldn't need to make a profit. Except profit margins for grocery stores are typically below 2%, and private grocers keep costs down by utilizing complex supply chains and economies of scale that Mamdani's stores won't have access to. The grocery business is really tough, says Scott Linciome, who is the vice president of general economics at the Cato Institute. Private grocery stores would provide a variety of fresh, frozen produce and other goods that everybody wants all the time, which is actually very difficult to do, particularly at reasonably low prices. In Kansas City, a government-run grocery store scheme lost nearly $900,000 just last year. What? I didn't hear about this Kansas City government-run grocery store scheme.
I didn't hear about it either.
I wonder if it's Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri, but it doesn't say. When an article just says in Kansas City, do you think they're mostly talking about Missouri? I think it's the bigger side, right?
I would say it's Kansas.
Oh, okay.
That's just my opinion.
It says Linciome, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name, says that if New York politicians want to give their constituents access to cheaper groceries, they could allow Walmart in the Big Apple. Wow, they don't have Walmart there? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But New York politicians have used zoning regulations to keep the nation's largest and most affordable supermarket from opening a store anywhere in the 5 boroughs. Wow, I did not know that. Walmart is the absolute leader in supply chain efficiencies, Linciome told Reason. It does this via a truly global network of warehouses and trucks and airplanes and all of these amazing things that shave off fractions of a penny off of every transaction. The idea that New York could somehow try to replicate Walmart's global supply chain and entire business model is just laughable. Number 2, New York has fewer food deserts than any other city. Mamdani says his grocery stores will help address the problem of neighborhoods lacking easy access to fresh food, but Linciome cites a recent study showing that ranked the Big Apple. Okay, they wrote that wrong. A recent study showing that the Big Apple is ranked number 1 in U.S. metro. Sorry, my alarm's going off on my phone. Sorry. Ranked the Big Apple number 1 in U.S. metro areas in terms of residents' equitable access to a local supermarket. You can basically walk anywhere in New York City in 10 minutes and find a grocery store, he told Reason. Linciome cites multiple studies showing that new grocery stores don't improve food access, but this is old news. In 2012, Reason covered 3 earlier studies that exploded the myth that adding neighborhood supermarkets improves the diets of their surrounding communities. Because it's like, I guess it's like, well, you can walk 10 minutes to get to one. It doesn't really matter if you can walk 5 minutes to get to one too, I guess. I don't know, but they have these studies cited here on this article. Number 3, it's a waste of money. Mamdani said that he is going to pay for his grocery stores by redirecting $140 million worth of city funding that is already being spent subsidizing corporate grocers. As the Washington Examiner's Timothy Carney was the first to notice, that number is based on a misreading of a city website. The city subsidizes some private grocery stores at a cost of about $3.3 million per year. As some Bronx residents told Fox News Kennedy, I guess that's the guy's name, in a new video published by Reason, the city should focus instead on helping the homeless, dealing with rats the size of cats, and cleaning all of the needles off the streets.
Wow.
The size of cats, that's terrifying.
That is a little terrifying.
Direct access is a more cost-effective and less destructive way to support low-income households than government-run supermarkets, and it's something the federal government already does in abundance. Through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, or food stamps, 1.79 million New Yorkers, 20% of the city's population, receive help purchasing groceries each month. What? 20% of New York City?
That's like almost a quarter of the population in New York City.
Of the largest city in America.
Yeah.
As one New Yorker told Kennedy in Reason's latest video, "You're focusing on the wrong things, Mamdani." Well, that is very crazy, a really interesting article, but Riley also brought in this other article just talking about all of his policies in general, and it's also from Reason, so I just wanted to do both. It says, this article from Reason.com, college graduates put socialism back on the ballot. Zohran Mamdani's campaign shows how the rhetoric of working class revolution now resonates most with the highly educated. It says, Zohran Mamdani's electoral victory in New York City marks a new triumph, not for the working class, but for the highly educated. It is a curious revolution in which the ringleader is not the factory worker, but the philosophy major, rebelling not against oppression, but against reality itself. Exit polling from CNN and NBC suggests that 42% of voters without college degrees supported Mamdani, compared to 58% of college graduates. Still, he won at such a landslide. That's why, 42% is still pretty big.
Yeah.
His base doesn't appear to be the hard-working laborer of Marxist lore, but the well-credentialed and well-schooled. This is the irony of our age. The more schooling Americans receive, the less capable they seem of learning from history. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The academy, once a crucible of open inquiry, has shifted to emphasizing consensus and shared ideology. Students often graduate knowing what to think, but less about how to think. In the name of diversity, universities foster a rigid monoculture. In the name of inclusion, dissenting views are discouraged. Mamdani's campaign echoed familiar themes. The rich are hoarders. Landlords are villains. The system is rigged. It was not the workers of the world who responded to that call, but the laptop class that claims to speak on their behalf.
I like the laptop class idea.
That's a good point, yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Or a good name. The irony would amuse Marx himself. A revolution against the bourgeois by the bourgeois. Socialism, democratic or otherwise, has been tried and has failed. From the breadlines of Moscow to the blackout nights of Caracas, from Cuba's decay to Venezuela's collapse. Yet the same ideas, refurbished in the language of equity and justice, are now sold in Ivy League seminars as moral progress. That graduates could emerge with $200,000 degrees to vote for a program of economic ruin suggests that our universities have succeeded in producing ideological zealots rather than informed citizens. And that's, like they said at the beginning, that it's a, war against reality, basically. I just really do believe that this is a huge reason why people get into leftist politics. They don't want reality to be reality, and that's why you can't argue with those people. You're not going to be convincing them that you're right and they're wrong, and then they'll say, never mind, I was wrong. It's a religion, basically. It's basically a religion to think, like, the government can just give us money in and then make everybody live happy lives and without us having to work. That's not reality.
I agree. It's definitely not reality. You have to work. If you want to make bread, you have to work. If you want bread at a store, someone else has to work to make that bread. It's a reality. The fact that you think you can just spend money or steal from billionaires and everyone's going to be fed is just ludicrous.
Exactly. And
it's ludicrous because you're not guaranteed someone else's labor.
Yep. It's like when Sarah says, everybody will want to just work and do their part.
No, people don't want to work because they don't have to.
And they definitely don't want to work as much as like a doctor has to work and get paid and have the same exact quality of life as somebody making resin art and selling it on Etsy.
Yeah.
So when more than 60% of Harvard undergraduates earn A's, compared to only a quarter of those students 2 decades ago, we see not excellence but indulgence. Real learning demands friction. Modern universities sell comfort. Once upon a time, universities taught humility before the lessons of history. Now their graduates are led to believe that utopia can be built with enough committees and grievance studies departments. The result is a class fluent in moral slogans but illiterate in economics. It is no coincidence that today's most zealous socialists, including Mamdani, have never run a business, hired a worker, or balanced a budget, but they can quote Marx and Engels at length. I have heard that he's basically been like a silver spoon kid who's never had to work a day in his life.
It wouldn't surprise me.
We have created a generation that mistakes credentials for wisdom and indignation for virtue. The educated class now supplies the foot soldiers of a movement that could, in time, erode the very prosperity that made their education possible. Rather than chasing credentials, Americans should pursue avenues that cultivate competence, creativity, and character. In an age of artificial intelligence and automation, the insistence that every young person must pursue a 4-year degree is foolishness. It already was before AI. Efforts like the MicroWorks Foundation and programs like Praxis offer what universities no longer do: practical skill, real accountability, and exposure to the marketplace of ideas rather than the echo chamber of ideology. If Mamdani's victory teaches anything, it is that our peril now comes from the overeducated elites who cannot distinguish intelligence from wisdom. Their degrees may hang in mahogany frames, but the ideas they carry are recycled failures. In tarot and also Kabbalah, there are spheres that represent different aspects of life, basically.
Uh-huh.
And there's one that represents knowledge.
Interesting.
And there's one that represents wisdom.
Yeah.
And whenever somebody's first learning about it, it's like, a lot of times you think that's the same thing, and it's not.
No, wisdom is applied knowledge.
Applied, exactly. It's not the same thing, and it seems that, like this article is saying, people seem to think, oh, well, they have a degree that just equals...
Tomato may be a fruit, but wisdom is knowing that you don't put it in a fruit salad.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Never heard that.
I've heard it before a few times.
Nice. So, it says, going on, a nation led by such minds risks learning the old lesson all over again. That socialism, whether taught in seminar rooms or shouted from campaign podiums, always ends the same way, in equal misery. It is time to retire the illusion that schooling equals education or that credentials confer virtue. America's future depends on rediscovering what our elites have forgotten, that freedom, not dogma, drives genuine progress. Excellent article. I
Indeed.
don't often just read an article in full on Free Talk Live, but that was a great one.
I think so too. I think we should share it around the world, get everyone to read it.
Well, I hope people enjoyed that because I thought we'd go more into like what his policies are and why they'll fail. But he talked more about just, his general ideas about why this not working class, but laptop class.
Yeah, the educated. Why did the educated like Marxism so much? They're the bourgeoisie. I don't know why the educated seem to like Marxism. Maybe because they're ill-informed on basic things like how economics work.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about that is they literally take economics classes, but they're taught Keynesian economics, which is just flawed. It's like a flawed foundation, and then they go on and more theories and different things are trying to work out with this flawed foundation in their flawed type of economics and coming to incorrect conclusions that don't line up with reality.
Yeah, Keynesianism is flawed from the beginning because it's a centralized idea, the centralized economy, and individuals are individuals and they'll make individual choices, and so you can't centrally plan an economy.
Right.
Economies are made up by individuals.
Well, I really enjoyed that article. And 603-283-6160 is the phone number if you'd like to bring in or bring up anything else and talk about anything else with us. And I did want to mention it is by, we said in last segment, I think Riley mentioned it, was that article on Reason was by Connor Boyack, and he's the guy who makes the Tuttle Twins children's books that teach economics and freedom ideas and just
yes,
all
my
about
youngest
liberty.
sister shares and her husband share them with their kids, so they're learning economic principles.
That's awesome. Did you send it to him?
No,
Did you get them into it?
I just heard that they were getting into it, and I was like,
Awesome.
oh, I'm familiar with those people.
That is really cool. So, in lighter news and totally different news, not really even news, but it's on the Wall Street Journal. I thought this
Ripple
was
news source.
kind of fun and interesting thing to end off the show with, unless somebody wants to call in. It says, tired of clutter, how to sell it for cash. I have literally amassed just too much stuff since Ian went to prison because Ian is so good at being like a minimalist, which it's like, okay, we're in the studio where he owns the most stuff in this whole house. And it's like, it takes a lot of stuff to have a radio studio in your house.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't count as a 100% minimalist, like, you know, if we're looking at definitions, but in the rest of the house, he doesn't have like tons of clothes. He doesn't have tons of stuff. And since he went to prison, you know, I get bored. So I just like, I have like a ukulele. I am learning. Like I'm not like, I haven't given up on it completely, but
Nice.
I also have a piano I have given up on
Yeah.
completely. Well, not a piano. I have a keyboard. So it's not like I have a whole keyboard or piano taking up space in the house, but I have like a trampoline I haven't jumped on in a long time. But I mean, my ovary problem kind of stopped me from being able to do that for a while. But like I'm saying, I am not a minimalist anymore. I feel like I was when I lived with Ian. I was always, you know, having fun, doing stuff that was fulfilling. So I wasn't just like buying things. But that's kind of happened since Ian went to jail. And so I'm really interested in this article. Not necessarily that I need to like sell it for cash or something, but inspire me to want to get rid of clutter. So this is from the Wall Street Journal by Catherine O'Shea Evans, and it says, tired of clutter, how to sell it for cash. In the tariff era, the online resale market is booming. Is your basement full of potential values? We asked pros what kinds of junk might sell and how to unload it for profit. Like many people, my garage and closets are littered with the detritus, oh, that's funny, Ian uses that word, of modern life, from stacks of paperbacks and fancy china to a fussy tea maker, still swaddled in its box. Oh, I hate that. All of it needs to go. Some of it, I suspect, might even be worth selling. Cast-offs proved valuable for Justin Lee. When he and his wife married in their late 30s, joining forces meant they would have to evict one entire household full of stuff. I'm sure you can guess whose things had to go, said Lee, who is the CEO of Core Performance Inc. in Knoxville, Tennessee. Lee embraced the purge as an excuse to resell everything from his old designer suits to a plasma TV via Craigslist, which in 2018 was the online marketplace of choice. We crushed, he said. What could have been clutter became cash, ultimately over $8,000. We didn't go to the ATM for years. Nice. Today, in the tariff era, demand for used goods is surging. According to the 13th annual resale report from the platform ThreadUp, have you heard of that, Riley?
I have not.
Me and Nikki used to like it because it's like, there aren't that many great, what are they called? Thrift stores in Keene. And it's basically like an online thrift, like a reselling clothes marketplace online.
Okay.
I haven't used it in a really long time, but it seemed pretty cool.
And it's called ThreadUp again?
Yep, ThreadUp.
Okay.
So it says, according to the 13th annual resale report from the platform ThreadUp, online resale saw 23% growth in 2024, and the market is expected to nearly double in the next 5 years. Yet, as alluring as it sounds to parlay stray Cole Haans, or I don't know what that means, or candlesticks into money, the uninitiated can find selling their clutter confusing and off-puttingly laborious. Yeah, like recently I took bags of clothes and went to sell them at Plato's Closet, which is a place in Keene where you can, or not Keene, in Manchester, where you can sell old clothes if It's like, I think it might be women's only. I'm not positive, but they say it's teenage to college age clothing only. And they took 9 of my items, didn't take everything, and gave me $50. And it's like, I know that like if I was like a grade at this, it would be worth more than $50. I really think so. Like a lot of it was not worn, but the trouble to like go, like it's not like I'm gonna make an online website for it. I just had a bag of clothes. So I took the $50 for the 9 items, and I think that's basically what they're talking about. Like the uninitiated may think it sounds so easy, like you just put up a sign in your front yard, but it's not gonna be easy to get like everything your stuff is worth, especially like clothes, I think.
Yeah.
So ThredUp online resale saw 23% growth in 2024, and the market is expected to nearly double in the next 5 years. Yet as alluring as it sounds to parlay stray Cole Haans, I don't know what the heck that is. Maybe that's a brand. Or candlesticks into money, the uninitiated can find selling their clutter confusing and off-puttingly laborious. The research, the photos, the listings, the cryptic messages from strangers. Who has the time? To demystify their steps and get a reality check, I reached out to organizing pros and veterans for their guidance. The bad news, your grandma's dishes might be less valuable than you think. The good news, your clutter could still yield surprising payouts if you know what and how to sell. First, do the math. Elisa Bovino, a New Jersey-based home designer influencer known for her Facebook marketplace prowess, suggests novices begin by setting a minimum price for their efforts. Oh, looks like we don't have time to completely finish this article, but you can always finish it at Wall Street Journal, especially if you have like one free article left, or just keep using archive.org, archive.ph, and you can read it without the oops.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Am I going to get sued by Wall Street Journal?
Probably not.
More Free Talk Live tomorrow. Thanks for listening. freetalklive.com for more. Thanks for listening, and peace.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 13th through the 16th for the 8th annual Fork Fest at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is a fork of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has sold out in recent years. Fork Fest happens the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Fork Fest is